In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in the competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with the Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with the Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska. Built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
Christmas holiday.
I was pointing right at you, so make sure you look good. He's like, is that camera pointing right at me? I was like, it looks like it's pointing right at you, bud.
You can't hide behind your cousin, bro.
See how you switch sides?
Shovel hat
let
over there.
it be, man.
He's got the D hat. He's got the D. He went to his right side. His right side must be his good side.
That's a Detroit. The Tigers? Yeah, see, we need to get him some, the hot dogs or, Daniel's dogs. Or
well, he said he wants that hat. Oh, yeah, go over there and put that one on, man. Come on, we can't be having you out here with some Detroit.
What, the blue hat or the dad hat?
Whatever one he wants over there.
Yeah, they should make Anchorage hats like that.
How about
they do?
Is that the Bucks?
Can you wear the one in the middle?
No, they have an A.
They do?
They have like an A one, and they have like a Bucks one. Yeah, that's the one for you right there,
that is
Pep.
the one.
Yeah.
You're going to look real good.
That's actually the last one.
Damn.
That's actually the last.
I was upset about the ASMR. I didn't know about the ASMR freaking can open.
Yeah.
I didn't get the memo.
Oh, you didn't get the memo on that?
Yeah,
See, that's how we know if you've been listening or not.
That was a test of that, and I already failed.
Some of the people are here
I
ready.
saw you
They're
looking
like,
at every
when do we
mic.
go?
What?
Caribou call, baby.
Yep.
You know, it's not too late. So anytime during the show, you can just put that sucker right. It's just as good as the first one, man. Don't worry about it.
That one has a caribou on it, too.
What's that?
You want some pizza, bro?
Yeah, you're hungry?
Yeah,
go ahead.
man.
Go ahead. Jack brought that from
that's Coast Pizza down in
from the
Gerwood.
coast.
Yeah, just got off the ski mountain. So,
as an Alaskan, I think it's my top 3
I
favorite
love
pizza place.
Coast Pizza.
Whoa, you want to go
so
top
good.
three,
Top three.
Alaska pizza?
Top 3. I didn't say the best. I said top 3.
All right, what's the other two?
I don't know just yet, but I just know that at least they're in the top 3.
So it's already a bomb pizza, but you're always getting it like on your way back from Whittier or
Yes.
some adventure or a day of skiing,
All
and
you
so
want.
it even tastes better.
Yes.
So
Oh,
it
you
like
just want
it,
greasy
it-
food.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right,
dude.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like
it's like
thin crust,
the
a
pinnacle
lot of good
premium of it.
cheese. Yeah, dude.
Some gnarly ass heartburn later. Just get it all.
Man, it does fuck me up, man. Beer and pizza now.
Oh, dude.
Even with the intermittent fasting.
No. Since I switched to that, I mean, I get it like lightly.
Yeah.
Lightly. Like if I'm eating pizza and I'm still drinking beer and it's like midnight, then I'll get it.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm drinking beer, it's late, it's after a hockey game or something. And so
Yeah.
that eliminates still fasting
Right.
time
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever. But it still gets it, but I don't have to take any like,
Antacids.
yeah, no, I try not to. Only if I'm doing like a late night, like, you know, late, like 3 o'clock, and then
Yeah,
you get the
yeah.
pizza or something
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
or,
You're
you know,
like,
you're
oh,
eating
no.
late,
You're
you come
asking
home,
for
and
it.
just like, rah, red sauce.
Go
it
straight
just
to
gets
bed.
you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
straight to bed and just wake up at 4, like,
Yeah,
throwing up in
choking
your
on
mouth.
it.
Oh, my God,
man,
it's the
don't even
worst.
get me started on that.
Welcome to Alaska Wild Project, episode 44. Hope everybody had a very good Christmas. This show is happening after Christmas, and I believe it's going to happen after New Year's. So happy New Year's to everyone
release.
bringing in the 22. A couple of things
Last
before
one.
we get the thing started. Thank you to everyone that's been going down to Barney's and picking up some of the merch out there, some of the shirts and hoodies and beanies and stuff like that. That's been really flying off the shelves. We got some new stuff on the way going for that. Thank you to everyone the new Patreon members. If you're not a Patreon member, please go to patreon.com/Alaska Wild Project, or just go to the website. That's probably the best way to support us. AlaskaWildProject.com. Thank you for the new Apple Podcast reviews, and a simple subscribe to the YouTube channel helps a lot. So thank you to all the people that are doing that. We really, really appreciate it. And I guess I'm just going to say, like, how was Christmas?
Man, it came fast and it went fast, and I can't believe it's already done.
2022?
Yeah, it's close. Yeah. No, I mean it was a full run and gun leading up to the holiday, and these having Friday, Saturday, Sunday off slowed it way down. So I felt like I got a chance to really soak up the holiday, not being able to prepare just because it was so fast. It was nice for everything to just come to a dead halt, and I really did feel that effect in a positive way. So great time with the family and some friends, and yeah, dude, grateful for everything
Nice.
this year. Christmas was great, man.
Jackie, how about you?
Lots of love and joy. Our December holiday season was all about getting the twins, the 5-year-olds, all getting them to become all mountain skiers at Alaska. So no double black diamonds, but get them up to like be able to do a black diamond,
Nice.
and just be self-sufficient, stand up. You know, they've been skiing for 2 years, but so I think I told you guys 9 days they've done, and they've made these just drastic jumps, and it feels good as a dad. And now I can, you know, ski more than the mountain, have fun with them outside in the winter, you know?
Yeah.
So that was just great. And then, I was blessed I didn't lose my finger. So that was good. So yeah, looking forward to another year around the sun for sure.
Nice. We did a lot of ice fishing. I went up to Big Lake with Dustin from the Bait Shack out there. Showed me a bunch of hot spots out there, little techniques, stuff like that.
Some intel or what?
Yeah, I got some intel. I can't say it on the mic.
Catch
The
some big
hard water
fish.
hustler coming through.
Dude, he caught a sockeye.
Oh, I saw that picture. That was
Dude.
rad.
Oh,
We
yeah,
thought it was
is
a
that what that was?
huge char, and it was a
Yeah, I
sockeye.
thought it was a spawned out
Yeah,
char. That was a red?
It was a sockeye, red.
Yeah.
It was crazy, dude.
It had that green
Like in
head.
December, dude, and it was like that thing was monstrous. And
Yeah.
it just attacked that thing that he had on there. So he was just showing me all his little techniques and how to use his. I've never gone with the electronics. You know, he has the hummingbird and the camera and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
What
like
do these do?
how to use it. So the hummingbird,
Sonar?
it's like a kind of like a sonar thing. So initially, when you go to punch the holes, you can just drop it in real quick and read how far deep it is. So it'll be like, oh, we're at 27 feet, and then we'll go to the next one, punch another hole, and be like, all right, we're at 17, 10, and we'll just go out from like 30 into like 5 to 3 feet. And then once you have your holes and you set that hummingbird in there, which is really cool. It only needs to go like right below the ice. It doesn't need to go all the way down. And it reads like a lighted arc. And as you are moving, jigging up and down, you see your green arc going from the bottom to the top. You know what I'm saying? So it's like almost like a half moon that goes from, you know, yellow to green to red, or green to yellow to red. And then on the end, you'll see your green arc of that's your bait or your hook. And Big Lake, you can't use bait, but it's your artificial lure that you're going up and down. You can see it pretty much going up and going down like that. And so you're like kind of bouncing it off the bottom. And as you go up, you'll see another arc. That's a fish that's going to tracks after yours. So you'll be like, boom, or you'll see one up here, and you'll move your hook, your lure up to the level of that arc, and just be like, and bounce it right there, and then you'll see it like move, and it basically kind of reads that section of lake between the ice and the floor of the ice. So it was really cool to go out with him. I do got some Finger Lake plans to go out there. Austin, thanks to Austin Manelek from Mission, Alaska. He wants to go out to Finger Lake and show me some spots out there, Palmer Boys and all that. So we still got those plans.
Love Finger Lake.
To go out there and do that. And we're building tunnels and ice fishing, and it was good.
That's awesome.
Phillip?
That's dope. I'm just taking it all. It's a different type of technique. Cause ice fishing, like we didn't do any ice fishing growing up. Born and raised here. Just hit the Kenais and stuff like that in the summertime, and it's like just like you talking about that. It's like, man, that's a whole different science. Science and art to it.
There's a science to it. And that was the first time I ever brought the electronics. Like I maybe started ice fishing during the pandemic. I was like, what can I do? I brought out my kids to go out there and just something to get away from people. And it was his idea. My oldest son is like addicted to fishing, fly fishing, any kind of fishing. He just loves it. And so he I don't know, he's like on YouTube one day and he just saw ice fishing. He's like, we can do that. I was like, yeah, we can do that. And so we ended up going, and it's just been progressing, dude. Like now we got augers and we got ice houses, and I got the hummingbird on the list to go get the hummingbird. That's and dope. all that stuff. And then as you get into it, you find other people that are already like know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And then you're like, I want to go with you so you can show me what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing wrong, or what's some cool tips and stuff like that. And it's just been a really cool learning experience. Adventure to get out with my sons and my wife and whoever wants to come out there.
It's a fun activity, man.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
I think you get a lot of seasonal workers in Alaska, guys that bust their ass all summer in construction or other seasonal obligations of time, that you get a lot of people that ice fish because now they're off work. Daniel, for instance, is a teacher, works for the school district. He's got those nice big chunks of time off. It's holidays and stuff, so it's like perfect for you, right?
Yeah.
And it's seriously a time to just chill, right? And be in that moment.
Yeah.
Be in the moment of ice fishing. You're not worried about bills. You're not worried about...
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, you're not worried about the ex-girlfriend.
Well, you're not worried about nothing. It's almost like you're going camping in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Because I bring the grill, dude. I bring the grill. I bring the firewood. We're having fires. We're cooking meats. We're fishing. We have a couple tents out there. The kids are running around with the sleds. And I was just talking to Alexia about starting to bring the skis.
Oh, yeah.
Because you go out to the lake, and there's so many different activities going on. Like if you're out at Big Lake, I saw people, obviously snow machining around. People are riding their four-wheelers around. People are flying kites. People are kiteboarding. People are just sledding by their cabin. There's just like snow biking around. Skiing. Yeah, exactly. So it's like if whatever you're into, whether what it is as a winter activity. Yeah. You can go do it at the lake. You might not be into ice fishing, but you might be into Nordic skiing or cross country skiing or sledding or biking, and you can come do that because every place that we've gone to, there's other people that are doing that activity. It's like a multi-activity thing.
Yep. Mixing it up.
And it's funny because like the trip he was explaining, like the ice fishing is more of a byproduct of the outing. Like we're going ice fishing. Yeah. We bring all our shit, and then we were like punching holes and setting up, and then we're like, crack, get a fire going, and we're just like really doing that. And every once in a while, hey, rod's down, hey, there we go. It's like, so it's more of just the outing and it's something fun to do because, dude, you can only sit cooped up in the house in the winter for so long, right? You haven't had to experience that much because you've been down in Colorado, right?
Wyoming.
Or Wyoming, excuse me. But you remember, right?
Yeah.
You remember the long cold winters and like it it gets old after a while.
Well, let me
Getting out
introduce
and-
Philip. We didn't
Yeah,
introduce
let's do
Philip
it,
here.
man.
We have Phillip Vallejo from Modern Day Sniper.
From Vallejo.
Do you get that a lot?
People kind of butcher it. It's all right. Velayo is
Vallejo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vallejo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not Vallejo?
Yeah.
What's that song from? That's West Coast. You should know that. Pepe, what is it? Vallejo.
Well, so we were just talking about this. It's pronounced Valayo in Tagalog, or in our but most people pronounce it Vallejo in
Filipino.
America. Yeah, Filipino.
Yeah.
So
Vallejo.
Vallejo is the actual like American, I guess, pronunciation
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
It's like Buitrago.
Yeah.
You know, where
How's
it's actually
it properly pronounced again?
Vallejo.
Vallejo?
Yep.
Vallejo.
I like that a lot better.
It's like an E. Vallejo.
Air burrito.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
What area is your family from in the Philippines?
Manila.
Manila?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
the city.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
The
What?
Mecca.
The Mecca.
Yeah, the Mecca.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Mecca, yeah.
I got to check that place out for the first time.
Were you?
Back in 19.
Nice.
Man.
You
I
like
was Yeah, oh, I loved it.
Cool.
I loved it. I loved the Philippines. It was a culture shock. Cuz I'm an Alaskan dude. I haven't like traveled the world a lot. I've been around the states and been in a few big cities, and you know that's always a little bit of a shock. If you're a born and raised Alaskan kid, like even just living in Anchorage, you go to like Dallas or LA or someplace and it's like, whoa, shit, this is like,
I'm feeling real uncomfortable.
yeah, I'm like, oh, this is not what I'm used to. But when I went there, it was like the third world country dynamic, and just like it was, shit got real. Like I realized that America is like almost a fantasy land when there's folks that are living the way they are, in so many folks in such a small area and so many constraints, and but then also the beauty of it, because we went way out in the country and stayed out there, and man, it was just like I've never seen so many happy people with very little, that it made me realize like,
Appreciate
wow,
what you
happiness
got.
is found in such simple things.
Yeah.
Than
It's not
a nice
material
house
place.
and a new truck and a new 4-wheeler and snow machine and all this other bullshit that we feel like we all got to have and have because our buddies have it and our brother has it or whoever, you know, and like you go there and it's like, man, just an afternoon beer in the sun and Olympias.
Some
Just-
lumpia.
Yeah, man, it's
Oh,
where
the
it's
food's
at,
got to
man.
be amazing.
Yeah,
man.
so
I love Philip. There's
kinda-
actually a lot of correlation between Filipino food and South American food.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very, very
Oh,
close.
definitely. Yeah,
Why is that?
definitely.
Do you know?
Because the Spaniards,
Raped and pillaged.
yeah, the Spanish
yeah.
pillaged
Yeah,
them
sure
as well.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They sure did.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I think visiting any second or third world country is highly beneficial to anyone from America, any young person, or especially someone from a small town. I guess Anchorage isn't really a small town, but it kind of is.
It is.
And you go out there and you go to these third world countries, where there's Colombia or Manila or Bogota or even anywhere in Mexico,
Yeah.
and you're like, you see these little kids that have no clothes on and they're just trying to do whatever they can. You just
Yeah.
appreciate, like, you're over here worried about like the new 4-wheeler and like this kid doesn't even have like shoes on. It's just insane. It just makes you appreciate everything that you have, which we are appreciative of everything we
Oh
have.
man,
Yep,
yeah,
that's
no,
right.
I was bitching about something last week, and I was just like, chill. Like things are going pretty good. Things
Yeah.
are going pretty good. I got a roof and a car and a fridge full of food, and I don't
Heat
have to.
and
yeah.
electricity and
Yeah,
clean
running
water,
water,
and a
exactly.
toilet, and it's just like, whoa.
Philip, do you get a chance to go home very often?
So I think we were just talking about before the podcast. I came
Yeah.
home earlier this year for a family reunion.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there's, I think, 60 something of us
Yeah.
from the first generation. So my mom, on my mom's side, there's 11 brothers and sisters. That's how I'm related to this guy here.
The hat looks good on him, by the way.
There's 11 of them,
Very
and then,
nice.
and then
Let me
ours.
zoom in on the camera.
I think we're considered first generation. That's what we consider ourselves as. So there's 29 of us, and then there's like 36 or 30 something of our kids. So I've got a daughter. He's got 3 kids. So it was cool
Okay.
to bring it all together. And I mean, growing up here for the first 15 years of my life, every winter we had the same shit. Thanksgiving, We had the same parties at the same house. My grandpa's
Birthday parties.
yeah, birthday parties, Christmas time and stuff like that. So it was really awesome to bring my daughter here to kind of experience that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we were super close as cousins growing up.
Oh, okay. First cousins?
Here. Yeah, first cousins. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, like brothers then.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's a very similar relationship too between South American and Filipino. Like, I'm so close with all my first cousins. There's like 60 of us.
Yeah.
And my wife is like, how do you like know all these people? They're like in Florida, in New York, in Colombia, in Germany, and just is like all these cousins. Like, oh, this is my cousin Pablo. This is my cousin Felipe. This is my cousin. And she's like, I have like 2 cousins that I know or even talk to. I was like, nah, we grew up with these people. Like every Christmas, every New Year's, it's like there's all of us like running around.
Was it maybe a little different in the 80s and early 90s too? Maybe as far as like
without all the social media and stuff like that.
Generation before you handled the phone.
Oh,
yeah,
the phone,
you didn't have the phone, so I feel like sometimes you're like, oh, I don't need to see this person because I can just like FaceTime them, or if I talk to them, it's good enough. But back then, everybody came together under one roof, and that's maybe the time you saw that cousin, the one time all year. Yeah. Or the 3 of the, one of the 3 times you saw them was going to be that venue, that gathering, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's the same.
It's not the
same.
same.
My family doesn't get together in the masses like all the first cousin. There was like 19 of you, and then everybody, aunties and uncles and everybody. Like, feels like we don't get together that same way.
We live like literally in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, we all grew up in like Jewel Lake too. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, Jewel Lake area.
So you were extra super tight.
Yeah.
Okay, so
like,
you weren't coming from too far to.
And so the main hub was Lolo and Lola's, or Grandma and Grandpa's, right?
Lola.
And everyone, all the siblings wanted to be within 5 minutes driving distance in the case something happened to them. And stuff like that. So
tight.
Ultimately,
take care of each other.
Yeah. Ultimately, they were. That's where all the parties were at. Is at Grandma and Grandpa's house.
Yeah.
Lola's is grandpa, right?
Lola's grandma, and then Lolo's grandma.
Lolo's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what happened? Like, couldn't you see it as it transpired between the generations? Like your folks and their parents' generations, like wanted to have like 11 kids, And I remember that being like way back in my family tree, but I don't know any of these people. But then you have one, right? So like, what's changed?
Oh shit, that's a good question. You guys were just talking about like being grateful. It's like, man, I was just stressing about buying Christmas presents the other
for
day.
one kid,
like a week ago. I'm like, man, imagine buying Christmas presents for 11 kids.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my goodness,
dude,
or teaching 11 how to ski.
Dude, that's crazy. I think a lot of it has to do with just the modern society of just like fear of missing out, right?
Yeah,
and just when I had my daughter, I was really young. I was 19, and I can't imagine having kids on top of that.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it has to do with the lifestyle of being in the military, right? It's just like, man, I was already so far gone away from my relationship with my daughter. So that's a good question. I think I think the most kids that one of my cousins have, I think, is 4 or maybe even 5.
5?
Yeah, she's trying to make a run for 11.
Trying to go old school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But most of us have like 1, 2, 3 max.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a part of it. Like, obviously people are having less kids, and also the ability to communicate with your family has highly increased since the 70s and 80s. Whereas now I feel like I see my cousins all the time on Facebook or Instagram, and you're communicating with them, and even the ones that are out of country on WhatsApp, and there's like group family groups, and and so everyone's like constantly communicating with each other, so you don't almost feel the need to like get together.
Not as distant.
Yeah, you don't feel as distant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. So let's get into the history. So your Alaska history, and then obviously in the military. Let's start with your Alaska history, and then move into when you went to the military and what all perspired there.
Yeah. So born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska. Spent my whole time here, either fishing in the summer. And I played ice hockey. I was like one of the only Filipinos on ice skates.
Oh yeah,
really? Did you play organized hockey too?
Yeah, AHA.
Oh,
There you go.
sweet.
Yeah, that's what I played.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I played for 11 years.
My parents weren't
Yeah.
trying to pay for a comp.
Wow.
So,
Good parents there.
and again, just again grew up. So our family immigrated here in the 70s, and then I left ultimately at 15 years old. So I went to Sand Lake, Mears, and then Diamond my freshman year. And that's when we moved down to Las Vegas. My mom's a chef. She's got bad arthritis, and she wanted to get away from the cold because the winter times were pretty tough for her. So she decided and convinced my dad to move to Las Vegas. So I spent my last 3 years of high school there. That's when mom and dad unfortunately got divorced. We kind of grew up in like a picture-perfect family the whole time, kind of growing up. My cousin has other thoughts about my
In your view, probably in your view,
my
that's picture
dad.
perfect.
Yeah, through your lens.
Yeah. But that kind
Good
of
honest cousin.
cultivated me to just get the hell out of the house because at that point we were broken up and stuff like that. I've got an older sister; she's 2 years older than me, and she joined the Navy, and so it was just me and my mom. And I was just like, I was a 4.0 student, and I was going to go to college and do all sorts of stuff, and then that happened. So I was like, no, F this. I'm gonna get out and join the military. My sister's boyfriend, who's my best friend now, he lives in Alaska, born and raised here. He was a Marine, and he was just telling me some stories and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that seems pretty cool. Like I had no idea what a Marine did and stuff like that until I really talked to him. And then that's kind of the route that I wanted to go. He was kind of like my person that I looked up to. And even though he's like 5'2",
Just tower over him.
Lift up to his manhood spirit.
Yeah. And so I became a Marine, and first time I ever touched a rifle was 18 years old in boot camp. And as a lot of people would say, and even as an instructor now, I say that's the best way to train is no bad habits.
And raw, green, just
right.
like, man.
I soaked everything in from the instructors there about how to shoot a rifle properly, and had enough essentially prerequisites from the time that I went to boot camp and then went through my basic training of being an infantryman that led me when I got to my unit. It set conditions for me to be a part of the screener to join the Scout Sniper platoon for that unit.
That early in the game?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it stood out right away when you guys started putting hands on rifles. It was like, oh, this kid can shoot.
Yeah. So we there's three things that come, or there's four main things that come along with us through our main trajectory of we call it our SRB, which is our PFT score, which is like pull-ups, a run, and sit-ups for a score. Your GT score, which is just what you take from an ASVAB, and then your rifle score, what you do in boot camp. And then obviously your MOS, which it has to be an infantryman. So when I got to my unit, we got essentially pre-screened before getting to the unit, and I had met all those requirements because essentially when I got to my unit, I had the opportunity, if I passed selection, to be able to go to sniper school. Even though that wasn't the case, I was still afforded the opportunity to be a part of the platoon. So there's some disconnect there that I can probably clear up here as well. So I did a script, what we call it indoctrination, which is 3 to 5 days typically of just a straight gut check of mental and physical exhaustion. I mean, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Test your mettle.
Yeah. But I always say this, but Mama didn't raise no bitch, and I just didn't know how to quit. Right?
Yeah.
I wasn't the fastest, but I also wasn't the slowest, and it was just like one foot in front of the other. You know. So then I was able to get selected, and then that's kind of where my journey started.
Badass.
What year was this?
2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're making those like assumptions and qualifications or tests within what, like a 2-month, 3-month span?
Yeah. I mean, so you've got boot camp, and then your basic infantry training. We call it SOI, infantry training battalion, which is 9 weeks long. But there are certain things that you have to have in order to get to the essentially pipeline. And honestly, for me, it was all based off timing and chance. I just so happened that when I got to my unit, they were just coming back from Iraq, and the opportunity to join the sniper platoon because as Marines are coming back from deployment, typically a lot of Marines are also rotating out of the Marine Corps because they're 4 years of up of service and now they're going out. So like new blood's coming in, and I just so happen to be that new blood that they needed snipers to join the join that unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So timing.
Yeah. So I always say tell people, like, honestly, I fell into the community by accident, just because it was just like nothing that, I mean, I played video games growing up, and
You're good at duck hunting.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I ever once told my Kuya Pep here that I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a sniper one day, and he probably didn't even fucking think so either, right?
Yeah.
Because I was. It's not like I was a fucking terrible person or a shitbag or whatever. I just like, it was just like out of the ordinary for me.
Yeah.
And
It caught Pepe to catch you off guard. You're like, what? You doing what?
Well, he was the one that got picked on.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I
Yeah,
can
so
protect
I-
myself now, Pepe.
I
I was
yards.
a little
Don't
guy,
even
right?
know. Okay.
And so now that I'm older, like we
Sprouted when you were like 17.
kind of we kind of peel back that layer of like why I joined the Marine Corps and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, when I became a sniper, it was just like super out of the ordinary. And the reason why I say that is because when I became a sniper school instructor, I had Marines. That was like their life goal, right? Is to be
an instructor.
to be a
sniper.
to be a Marine Corps Scout sniper.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right, and like this is what they dreamed and lived for.
Oh, this was their lifelong
Exactly,
dream,
exactly.
and you're coming in. You didn't even know. You just
That's
walk right into it.
Oh,
Exactly,
shit.
right? So like it was so hard for me to like talk with them and be on the same level with them because
So you're like, who the fuck are you?
that's right.
Kinda.
That's right. Like almost
Yeah.
felt like kind of like an imposter, right? But like I was already, I was already a seasoned sniper. And I felt bad when I did have to drop certain Marines from sniper school because they didn't meet the, certain qualifications and stuff like that. But they were good. They were just good
and
Marines.
they want it in their heart.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whereas like me is just like by sheer timing, accident, right? Even though like,
Well, there's some skill and talent going on
I'm
here.
technically and physically proficient, to do the job. I just felt bad in terms of like it's just a different mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, with a lot of things in life,
great way to-
timing and luck
Yeah.
just happens to play in, with it.
Like skill and talent got you to a place where the demand and need for something was there and your criteria met that clash. It's just all kind of like, and yeah, I mean, it's got to be weird to tell a guy who's been doing it forever, sorry, man.
Yeah.
Or it's just someone that just like this is
That
why
was their dream.
This is why I joined the Marine Corps. And like me, I was just like trying to get by. It was like
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was going to do this.
that's right. I was like, oh man, I'm here. And I was like telling my cousin Alaska, like, I'm in the infantry. My mom hated the fact that I joined the Marine Corps. And,
Yeah.
Oh,
she's
really?
like-
Oh, there
she's
wasn't
like-
a lot of
She
support
didn't
there.
support that?
Oh no, she it was like she was like, well, once she found out that I was gonna become a Marine, she was fucking crying. She's like,
She have a hardcore accent too.
yeah.
Does she talk just like,
Yeah, she talks just like
Phillip,
yeah, that's right. That's
yeah.
right. And so
I got an in-home Lola, man.
oh,
so,
do you? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So she was super pissed off, and my dad knew it was coming that I was going to join the military, but he didn't think that I was going to go to the extreme of being an infantryman. Because this was also at the height of the war of OIF and OEF. We were both in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, Afghanistan, yeah.
So like
teeth of it.
Wait,
It's-
IEF and OEF?
so OIF and OEF, which is Operation Iraqi Freedom and
Oh, okay.
Operation Enduring Freedom. Yep.
I know military, like the Anchor School District, likes a lot of
No, yeah, I'm
acronyms.
glad you said that because a lot of times, yeah. So OIF was
never heard
Operation
it like
Iraqi
that
Freedom, and then OEF was Operation Enduring Freedom, which was our operations in Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in 2007, we were pretty much at the height of, for sure, Afghanistan, and we were at the tail end of Iraq.
For deployment.
Yeah. So like essentially, my parents knew I was going to combat.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Well, I think as a parent, definitely a Hispanic parent, like that was almost frowned upon. I don't know how it was for you. As like know you're going to start a business or you're going to be a mailman or try to find some good like
Raise a
federal
family.
job,
Yeah.
you know, and raise a family, not go out to the military.
IBW.
Yeah, IBW. Like my dad was trying to get me to be like electrician and stuff like that. And like military was never discussed, was never an option.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone in the military. I mean, is that how it was for you guys?
Yeah, pretty much. There was no one other than maybe a cousin or two that joined the military prior to me. I was the first Marine. But yeah, I mean, after that, there's
Were
only
they
been,
straight A, like straight laced cousins too?
yeah.
They were?
Yeah, we were
Okay.
we were all pretty, for the most part, pretty.
So
straight
it
edges.
caught some family off guard that it was
Yeah.
like, well, these guys should be going to college or
Yeah.
being educated, or instead they're going to go to the military. Why would they do that, right?
Especially for me, like if you understand how I grew up and like me being like I would consider myself the baby of the generation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, they're talking about get-togethers, like we would have like these wrestling brawls in the downstairs.
Oh, sure,
with
sure.
all
The old
adults.
mattress
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
that's
Cousins are
right.
just kicking everybody's
Oh
asses.
yeah, and I was a baby boy cousin. So there's him, and then our cousin Eon. You know, the two, and then everyone else is all girls, right?
Okay.
So like I was always getting picked
they
on
probably
by,
kicked your
by
butts,
these two.
man.
Yeah. So like literally like, and when I wasn't at
Little Filipino girl cousins are mean.
oh dude, Filipino girls are mean in general. So, yeah. This is why I'm not with one because they're crazy.
I love you, Rena. I love you.
Don't fall asleep around
I'm assuming your wife's Filipina.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got some culture there. There you
Yeah,
go.
we do. We do got it
Cool.
going on big time. Big time. Yeah. No, I got to experience some of that. Just hanging out with my boy Chris and hit their family gatherings. There's, always the wrestling matches. There's always everybody's bowing up on each other all the time. All the little cousins want a piece of the big cousins.
That's right.
Usually the little ones are the feistiest though, right?
I was a little feisty.
Yeah. Wait, which one's younger?
I am. Yeah.
You're the baby,
Yes,
right?
baby.
Okay.
But he put me in my place real quick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
That's what he
Yeah.
said.
No other
There's a
option.
hierarchy there.
That's right. Well, so I'm glad you said that. Is people always ask me how the military was, and for me it was easy because there was already hierarchy established in our family.
In the
right?
culture of your family.
Exactly.
Yes.
It was easy to listen to people that was above me, regardless if I respected them or not. Like that was just a hierarchy. It's like, hey, if someone tells you to do something, you're going to do it without asking any questions,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So like for me, that experience in the military was easy because it was like I've been doing this all my life already, right?
Wow. Transition you never knew would even happen so smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So you get into the military, and then you get chosen for the scout sniper school, and then so did you get deployed to some of these places?
Yeah, so I did 4 deployments during my time. One of them being a combat deployment, 3 of them being what we call Marine Expeditionary Units, which are pretty much just like floats in preparation for any kind of crisis that's going on in the
Just
nation.
close to the area.
I guess the biggest analogy I could, or like-minded, is the recent events in Afghanistan during the extraction. So I've got some pretty good, close friends that are leadership in that unit. They were on a MU, is what we call it, Marine Expeditionary Unit, and they were on their way home. They were 2 weeks away from home before they got rerouted to help out with the Afghanistan evacuation. So that's essentially what those are in place for. Right?
Those floats.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Iraq deployment was pretty chill because we were on the tail end of it. And then I mean, pretty much we call it booze cruises. Visited Thailand, Philippines, Dubai, and then my last deployment, we were sitting in Africa for a little bit, just kind of waiting for something to pop off. But
So when you're deployed, are you on like a ship, or are you at like a base?
so my Iraq deployment, we were on base, and then my other 3 deployments, we were pretty much on ship. Yeah.
Ship life. How's that?
Oof, man, I would love to never ever be on a ship ever again. I'll tell you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, for us, it's pretty chill because like we're just occupants. Call them marine carriers.
Because you're a specialized unit.
That's right. They're just essentially transporting us. So like the Navy hated us.
Sure. Because you guys are in this other little section with these nicer rooms.
You don't
You're
got to
not
clean up and do
helping.
shit.
That's right. Well, we still got to do stuff, and like we're not in nicer areas. Like we were living in these racks and stuff like that were like 4 high. But when it came time to like, we call it general quarters or shit was happening with the ship, we'd have to just sit in our barracks or our berthing areas and
let the guys do their work.
That's right. Yeah, and so like we were just there taking up their air and oxygen, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like ship life just because like I mean chow lines were like there were specific times, you know, you got to wake up from like 6 to 8 or then like 11 to 1 and then like 4 to 6, but like the chow lines would be like 2 hours long. So
Oh my God.
to start eating at 4, you got to jump in line by 2. It's fucking insane.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it like college where you had to sneak a couple sandwiches for later because you're going to be up later?
That's right. Yeah,
Bring some stuff back.
You know, when you were mentioning your position on the boat at that time, a movie came to mind. Can I reference it?
Yeah.
I want to say it so it doesn't sound like cheesy. Okay. The movie Captain it's in Africa. It's the piracy movie. It's Tom Hanks. Are you guys the sniper guys?
It's funny that you said that.
Come through with the tight quarter zips, like all ripped, and
My
just like
second
make sick ass shots.
Our ships were the ones that were the Magellan Star is what you're talking about. Our ships were the ones that helped with that operation.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what is that
Like you specifically?
Not me specifically, but our units for that. Oh man, I messed that up.
Oh, you're supposed to do it by the mic.
I know.
We still heard
mic.
it. It's all good.
Yeah,
You have other opportunities. But I just, when you were mentioning that, I thought to myself, there was a specialized unit on that boat that came into effect when the time was needed.
That's right.
And so is that a good example?
That's exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
That's a perfect example.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Marines on the boat, but not the actual boat. Not like the. Oh man, I'm messing.
I'm not following you.
Have you not seen the movie?
No.
Marines on a boat.
Yeah.
I know about the Magellan
No, it's
Star
not the name of that.
incident in real life.
Yeah. So essentially, we're just there because they're taking us from one place to another on a ship.
Yeah. Okay.
And like we don't do anything besides eat, go to the gym, and sleep.
Right.
And so when stuff actually happens, that's when we actually gear up, and then we either get
Deployed from there to whatever the situation
that's right.
is.
We either get deployed via the cricks on the boat, which are these little small boats, or via helo.
Okay.
Right. Are the insert platforms to get us to land.
Captain Phillips.
Captain Phillips.
And
Thank
that's
you,
what this
Daniel.
movie is about.
You haven't watched Captain Phillips?
You haven't seen that movie?
No.
Are you the only
man.
one that hasn't seen that movie?
You got to
I
watch
don't
it, dude.
watch movies, dude.
Well, I don't
out
watch a lot
playing
of
really
movies either,
hard.
but
All right.
I caught that one. I got that one. Anyway, there's a scene in the movie where these badass sniper Marines get on the boat on a I don't know if it's a carrier or a battleship or whatever they got on to, but they get set up in position where a sniper makes this like unbelievable shot through like a dime and on a boat and moving and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the lead up to that is like, there's the guys on the vessel and they're doing their thing, and then this elite crew shows up.
Yeah.
Kind of like take charge, and I'm sure that's a little Hollywoodish, but they like take charge, they get set up, and then their unit does their part. And, and when he mentioned like what they were doing, I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like
that sounds cool.
what those guys
No,
doing.
I
And
gotta
those
watch
guys
it.
were like, when they came to the movie, they were like the baddest ass motherfuckers in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're part of that.
So you're assuming the
badass.
real life is like the movie?
Not at all necessarily.
It's like Hollywood.
But I'm getting that Philip was part of a badass unit, and I'm sure he can attest to that, right?
Backtrack a little bit to the training that would have taken
go.
place before
Very good.
you showed up on those
messed
4
it all up.
tours.
Yeah. I deployed my first unit as a non-sniper, and what that means is, in order for you to be recognized in the Marine Corps as a sniper, you have to go through their school, which is Marine Corps Scout Sniper School. When I went through, there's 4 of them: Hawaii, SOI East, which is in Lejeune, Quantico, and then Camp Pendleton. Which
you
is
have to go to
First
all
Marine.
4 of them?
No. You just have to go through one of them.
Okay.
They all ran
What's the baddest ass one?
Pendleton. Which
is where?
Which is the one that I taught at. This is Camp Pendleton. Is in California.
How'd I know?
That's first.
How'd I know?
First Marine Division. Yeah.
Is that the one near San Diego?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Cali.
Yeah. So,
All right. That was a good answer, by the way.
yeah. I'm gonna get so much shit for saying that. All my
Oh,
boys.
I set you up, bro. I set you
all my
up. I
boys are
set
gonna be
you up.
like,
They're gonna be like,
"Fuck
this
that."
motherfucker. He thinks
So-
his unit.
Yeah. So I didn't go to school until 2011 So I was what we call a PIG. PIG stands for professionally instructed gunman. That means you're a part of a scout sniper platoon.
So they try to make it sound nice.
Yeah, but you're not a sniper. But you're not a sniper.
Okay.
Right. And then
You're learning, you're watching.
Yeah, that's right. You can essentially do the task of a sniper, but you're not seen from command from like higher ups as a sniper.
But you're still active.
Yeah. So like essentially, because what battalion commanders, which is like a colonel, like the boss, the guy that's like he wants to know what capability that he has.
Yeah.
When you're not a sniper, you're not recognized as a capability, right? So like if I've got
he can't put his name on that.
exactly,
Yeah,
right?
you're like extra credit than when you're there.
exactly.
Though. So
Okay.
it's like,
So,
we
yeah.
got this guy too.
So fast forward, I became a sniper, which now once you graduate sniper school, which is a pretty tough, one of the toughest curriculums in the Marine Corps, you become a HOG, which stands for Hunter of Gunmen.
Okay.
Yeah. So the school's 13 weeks
Sounds a little
long.
more badass.
It's a little more badass.
Pig the hog.
Yeah.
Hog.
Way
so
better than the pig.
Bring in the hogs.
Yeah, so it's funny because when I started teaching at cyber school, there's a lot of like instructorisms, right? Like you call your students pigs, right? It's like,
Yeah, I was
or
gonna say there's
swine.
got to be like,
Yeah, come here, pig.
It makes them feel
Let
really
Sean,
good
motherfucker,
inside.
let Sean.
extra crispy.
and so so the school's 13 weeks long, but I was a pig for 3 years before I got an opportunity to go to sniper school. Yeah.
Okay.
How
was
long
that a
is actual
grind or
school? Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying was that a grind or what?
It was, yeah. Every day is a competition.
Because that's like practice squad. I feel like
Yeah.
You're like a team.
Well, so the way it works out is
Do you feel like JV?
you're essentially JV, right?
Yeah,
You're like
trying to get up there.
you're essentially working out every day to try to get recognized by your seniors in order to be able to be like, I want to send this guy to school next. Because the way it worked is that it was based off unit availability for that schoolhouse, because they only could take 32 students at a time. But sometimes you would only be able to send 1 or 2, right? And so you got a platoon of, let's say, 32 guys, 6 of them are snipers, the other 26 are not snipers, but I can't send all 26 because there's other units that need to send snipers, so I can only send 2 of you. So now I got to compete with 26 on the motherfucker. Can I don't know. Yeah, 26 on the motherfuckers, right? Who are my best friends and my brothers to be like, no, I want the spot because I'm better than you, right? So every day was always a constant grind of like showing my seniors of why I was the best and the best candidate to be able to go to school.
Well, that probably breeds the best person to step up. You know, when everyone's trying to get into that school, everyone's trying to be the best they can be, and the coaches or the uppers decide.
Yeah, and when they show up, they're going to take it serious and get as much as they can out of it.
Yeah.
I had a weird kind of question. So, like, and this is all around cyber school, and specifically the Hawaii one. Like around like 2005, there was this article about all this like dude who was going to help. It was a private party that was going to help run the Marine Sniper School in Hawaii.
Okay,
and they gave him a bunch of money, and then he ran away with it. Do you know about this story?
No, I do not.
Okay, I always wanted to know more about it, but I thought maybe you would know. But you can't, like, I've searched it. I can't find more about it. But anyway, I always wondered about that.
That's crazy.
Anyway, I'll send you the link sometime.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
I'll find
real quick? Like,
so
what?
I have like a loose like connection to like this event.
Okay.
So that's why it was sent to me.
Yeah.
But like not in my family, but a loose connection. So like I think it was
Loose.
sometime after the Iraq. So what was that?
Iraq's Afghanistan?
UIF.
OIF.
OIF.
Yeah.
It was right after that.
Nice, Jack.
Sometime like in that first couple years, they needed, we needed to boost our training capabilities. So the government reached out to like ex-Marines, ex-whatever, specialists, and they gave a bunch of money to this group or a person, whatever, to do like a privatized sniper school. And it was in Hawaii. And there's an article about this that I'll find. but it was like they gave him a shit ton of money, and then this dude like ran with it.
Oh,
And so,
man.
but you're running from the U.S. military. Like this seems like the craziest thing ever. And so I've always just been so interested in what happened. And you can search the internet, you can find these articles about like, okay, this is what happened, but then there's nothing at like what actually happened afterwards. And it's we all know what happened afterwards.
So I'm smiling because like there's an inside joke in our community that's Hawaii's not a real schoolhouse.
Oh that's funny.
There's always a running joke with other snipers that like, oh, you went to Hawaii, it's like that you're not even a real sniper, Like but
funny.
no, I mean it's a legit, right? It's a legit schoolhouse. They actually closed down when there was a huge budget cuts in the military.
Okay.
They were the first actual school to go. So when I started teaching at sniper school at Camp Pendleton, we only had 3 schoolhouses, which is First Mardiv, which is in Pendleton, California. Second, which is Lejeune in North Carolina, and then Quantico. Yeah, but it's funny that you say that when I pass this podcast off and people hear about that, they're like, oh, leave it to fucking Hawaii.
Yeah, imagine homeboys in the back of a Lincoln or something somewhere. Man.
Oh,
That's
no.
kind of what I wondered.
Yeah,
Like,
I
they
bet
just-
he's like buried in the outback because he for sure ran. He for sure ran out of the country.
Yeah,
Anyway,
All jokes,
I always
but-
wondered what happened to that.
That's funny.
All right, sorry for that one.
Let's take a quick second here and give a couple shout out to our sponsors. Let's give a shout out to Tailored Restoration, 24-hour emergency services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold damage, post-emergency cleaning, remodeling, and the aftermath. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you at any time, day or night. And listen, guys, really put this number in your phone if you're from Anchorage, because when you need this person and when you need to call this, you want this number. It's 344-1239. That is the Tailored Restoration number in Anchorage. Or wherever you're listening from this, they'll answer and connect you to wherever's closest to you. Because whenever you have some sort of water problem or a heater problem or a roof problem, you're going to want to call this number right away. And they're going to have someone out there as soon as possible to go ahead and help you take care of whatever that issue is. Let them know Alaska Wall Project sent you. Tailored Restoration, Alaska.com.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, my personal go-to for authentic Mexican food. It's Anchorage's own new generation of cocina. All recipes are inspired by their rich heritage and family know-how. They make all their ingredients in-house. Both the Tudor and Northern Lights locations have tequila bars. I recommend the Mezcalita, and I also recommend the Serrano's burrito, which we eat on canning day often at Double Shovel. Locations on Tudor and Northern Lights. Follow their food truck location on Instagram. I believe their food truck is coming back in January. And check out their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
The Treehouse, AK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Alaskans' own grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. I read the intro. I like it, though.
Yeah,
I like it
sounded
there.
good.
Yeah, I'm going to run with it.
Yeah, it was good. I want to backtrack. You mentioned something earlier, Philip, that kind of actually, I don't think we even mentioned your Instagram is Vallejo _0317, and also the company that you're a part of, a co-founder of, is at Modern Day Sniper. What's 0317?
So 0317 is the MOS, which stands for Military Occupational Specialty, code for Marine Scout Sniper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking to find Philip on Instagram, go ahead and hit that Vallejo, VELAYO _0317 or Modern Day Sniper, and I'm sure you can connect to his account from there. But you mentioned something in the very beginning. Let me see. I wrote it down. You said that you had never fired a rifle or any type of gun until you went to the military.
18 years old.
And you said that you learned proper techniques because you didn't start off with bad habits. And that just got me thinking on how I learned to shoot and how from the get-go, my dad admittedly was not a very good shot. And he's the one that, taught me, and I kind of taught myself after that. So I never really had any type of proper instruction. I didn't go to any kind of school. I just had my dad, who's, you know, from Colombia out here trying to shoot moose, like trying to teach me how to shoot stuff. He did the best he could. Yeah. And, you know, he did really great. And I've had to learn a lot more on my own. But I want to know, like, what are some of these techniques when you go to the school? First off, how long is that sniper school? How long does it take? And then what would you say is the number one technique or habit or bad habit that we should avoid?
This is like a multifaceted question.
Yes.
It's great.
It is. Like one thing.
Run it.
So I'm gonna start off with your first of talking about how you grew up and stuff like that, and you know, I want to say that that it all links back to your definition of being proficient behind a rifle. It's going to be a lot completely different than my definition of what it means to be proficient behind a rifle. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying
totally.
that it's bad.
No,
but,
it's 100%.
But
I get
essentially, if you come to me for instruction, I want to get you to my level.
Gotcha.
Right? Because you obviously are paying me because you see me or maybe some of my peers or other instructors at a level that you want to get to in terms of proficiency behind a rifle. Does that make sense?
100%.
Absolutely.
And not saying that what your dad taught you was incorrect, right? Because a lot of hunters that are not trained are capable of doing and getting it done. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the question is like, okay, well, what if I can make you even fucking better?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that look like? What does that training look like?
Yeah.
And so that's essentially how I'll answer that question, right? So that question is, cyber school is 12 weeks long. The first 9 weeks is dedicated strictly to marksmanship.
In the field.
Yep, at the range,
behind
in the field.
rifle.
Yep. So when I was teaching at cyber school for 3 years, I was a primary marksmanship instructor. So I facilitated all the long range instruction. I have a passion for shooting, and my passion is mainly for teaching. I just happen to teach my hobby.
That's a great passion.
Nicely said too.
And I love, because, you know, people always say that, like, you know, you should never mix your hobbies and your work, right? Because then you end up start hating. Well, my passion is teaching, and then I just so happen to teach my hobby, right?
Got it.
So I love the light bulbs. I love, you know, when I'm able to communicate specific information and stuff like that to people about long range shooting or shooting in general. I love seeing the light bulbs click. Right.
Yeah.
And then
see their mind unlock and like,
that's right.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you know, at face value, right? You guys probably would look at me and probably on the street and probably never think of me of being a probably Marine Scout Sniper veteran.
No, you look like a regular guy.
That's right. Like I'm not.
Yeah, I would not. I honestly, to answer your question, honestly, if you said, "Hey, did you know I did this?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah.
Tell me more.
Wasn't my first thought. But
no beard, no like tactical, which is fine, right? But
sure.
You know, when I dive deeper in the layers of like of instructing and communicating and barriers to entry, right? That immediately lowers a barrier for entry for someone to communicate with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Wow,
it does.
Okay. So there is a perception when you think about a Marine sniper, it's the guy with the beard and the muscles and the tattoo, and he's got the glasses, and he has
there's a narrative.
thing.
That's right. There's a narrative that Hollywood has painted.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. The all-American boy from Texas.
That's right.
Okay. You're
Right.
not that specific.
I'm not. No.
No, you're
You're
very approachable.
you're the all-American boy from Alaska.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's a Filipino guy.
Yeah.
But like you said, the beard, the muscles, the tats, all the stuff is
It's the Hollywood thing.
Yep, the Hollywood thing.
Thanks for
right?
pointing that out.
Yeah,
because
no one ever thinks about that, right? No one ever thinks about that immediate barrier to entry. And this, I mean, again, it just goes into my deeper diving of understanding of effective communication, right? Because what we like to do at Modern Day Snipers is our goal is to deliver information, right?
Yeah.
And we want to try to do that as with minimal barriers as we can, because when one of the things that I say is that closed mouths don't get fed, which is like, hey, if you come to instruction, you're paying us to teach you. Ask us questions, even if you think it's a dumbass question.
We're here for you.
Exactly,
Like,
ask it, and I can't answer a question if you don't tell me, right? So closed mouths never get fed.
Yeah, I'm not a mind reader here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But like immediately there are just based off of the narrative and the stereotype of what Hollywood has painted Marine snipers or snipers in general, of this guy in beard, tactical out, stuff like that.
I think your partner is the narrative, actually. Let me get that guy up there.
Kalen?
Yeah. He is like...
No, he just has that legitimacy.
Like,
has
straight
that.
up,
He does.
dude.
He does.
But I understand
Yeah.
your approach, almost
Yeah.
like a teacher approach. Whereas if you can make it like, oh, this guy's just like me, this is a regular person, then you feel comfortable enough to ask the questions that you might have felt stupid.
That's right.
Asking, some guy who looks like, he might choke you in 3 seconds.
That's right. Yeah. And so my business partner, what we were talking about,
There's
like,
your boy right there with the dad hat and the beard. Yeah.
so when you hear his story, he became a Marine to become a Marine Corps Scout Sniper.
Yeah.
That's why it's so crazy that him and I became business partners and
Intertwined,
a co-founder Modern Day Snipers, because we're not polar opposites. We have a passion for obviously sniping, but in terms of our journey, right?
Yeah.
The other day I was cooking, or the other month I was cooking in his kitchen. And so sometimes when we're hanging out there, we'll take turns. I cook breakfast, he'll cook dinner. And we were sitting in the kitchen one time. I looked at him and I was like, Canley, do you think we would have been friends in high school? And absolutely not. We were just completely different people. But just to go back to your question. So cyber school is 12 weeks long, 9 weeks strictly for marksmanship. But I would say the biggest bad habit that I would want people to avoid is with modern rifles and understanding the body ergonomics behind a rifle is to square up more efficiently behind it, right? And that your body has a lot more influence than you think behind a rifle than you do, right? No. In terms of like efficiency behind recoil management, right? And understanding that as a rifleman, right? When I pick up a rifle, I should have accountability for every shot that I take. If I take a shot and I had no idea because recoil threw me off my shot, right? But like my spotters there is like, oh, you shot him, right? That wasn't accountability of your round. You were relying on somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like every shot that you take as a shooter, as a rifleman, you should have 100% accountability of where that bullet goes.
Right.
So you guys see it all the way through.
That's right.
You gotta have like a full data perspective on the whole thing without support, if need be.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, not to hate on my dad, but my dad, when I was like, this thing hurts, he went to his truck and he got a soccer shin guard and he put it in my shirt on my sweater and put it in. I vividly remember one of the soft ones, dude, and he put it in there. It's like, boom, and he's just like, now you'll be good. You know what I'm saying? And now that I think back about it, it's like, well, now this is like out more. It's like not in the right spot. You know what I'm saying? And that was like the technique. He's like, well, we'll stop the pain. We'll put a shin guard.
Daniel.
When you feel the adrenaline, you won't even feel it. Don't even worry about it.
That's right. And well, so I'm glad you said that. A lot of people say on bigger cartridges, right? And so a lot of people, I'm going to share this podcast, right? And a lot of people that are going to listen to this are going to start laughing, because when we get into like long range hunting, selecting cartridges and stuff like that, training, the higher the cartridges is, the bigger the cartridge is, right? Even though it's meant to take down something that's probably fucking huge, moose, bear, right? The less inclined that shooter is to train with it in the off season.
Because it hurts and you don't want to practice.
Right. And we talked about this earlier, right? People, hunters that are extending their ranges do it probably more often in the field than actually in training.
Yep.
Right, because of the opportunity that arises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So you're learning how to shoot on the fly in the field versus going to the range and like testing this new gun out with this cartridge.
That's right.
No, a lot of guys do that.
Yeah.
And there are more guys doing it than ever before. But in general, the guy that just kind of like, when I'm shooting, it's shooting at an animal.
Yeah.
Like I don't shoot a lot. Like I go and make sure that it's zeroed.
Yeah.
And 1, 2, maybe 3 shots, I'm good to go. Well, really practicing, training, and learning is like going out, laying on a dirt mound or a grass mound or a rock on a hill and shooting down, angled, over with wind, whatever. No one's doing that usually. Most of us go out and zero our rifle, and we're going to go out and shoot a caribou.
That's the average hunter, right? That shoots 20 rounds.
There you go.
Before the season,
if that,
right?
If that.
And
the way ammo's been, Phillip.
Oh, yeah.
You might shoot 5.
That's $60, dog.
Yeah. I mean, just availability.
You can't even find it.
Yeah. But I'm sure that you guys have been in situations, right, where you saw a shot or an opportunity. You're like, damn, I could have shot that, but you didn't know your capability as a shooter, right? And you're like, oh man, like
right here,
right?
Yeah.
And so
it hurt so bad, Phillip. I had that happen this year,
especially in Alaska, where there's a lot of openness, right? Especially in certain areas where you could probably shoot something 400 or 500 yards. And again, I don't want to dive into the ethics of shooting long range, but the definition of long range hunting to hunters are completely different. Right. But what if I can tell you, for me, I can effectively shoot something and put that bullet exactly where I want to out to 600 yards.
Right.
Put that bullet exactly where I want to in time and space to make sure that it's the most ethical and clean kill that I can possibly have.
Right.
Right. To where that animal's not suffering.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Right. And,
Yeah.
and that was the only chance that animal or whatever gave me at that time.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big debate. I mean, I personally will never, maybe because I feel like my skill level is
Phillip's
300
about
yards or
2 up.
closer, and I feel as if like most people, that's probably most Alaskans that are just average hunters, 300 yards or closer is probably the average level of what they at. But that doesn't mean that if you have the skills or the ability to go further and still have the same effect, that the ethics are off.
Yeah, it depends what you want to. I mean, you gotta do what Phillip does. You have to go train and practice. You have to go get real instruction and to be able to shoot that far. It was like when we were coming out of Toke a few years ago. This other guy had killed this monster sheep. I mean, it was huge, and we were like, "Man, that's a big sheep. Tell us a story." And he starts telling the story. He's like, "Oh, I got pinned down at 900 yards," and you're kind of like, "What?" Like.
You couldn't get closer.
So you shoot at 900 yards, and then you hear the story where the bullets are flying.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't one bullet where it should be.
So,
and that's the problem.
Okay, so
they're not training.
This is the problem that I have with long range hunting is that in itself. And when I say this as humbly as I possibly can, but I would consider myself a professional shooter because that's literally what I get paid to do.
Yeah,
I think you can qualify as that.
Yeah.
I would not shoot something at 900 yards, not because but there's a level of difficulty in understanding conditions, right? That really play into luck when you're taking a shot at 900 yards.
Yeah.
Right. And I shoot out to 1,300 yards competitively all the time. Right. I more competitively shoot now than anything.
A 1,000-yard shot is something that you do.
Yeah. On steel, but on an actual live organism.
Right.
And making sure that bullet goes exactly where I want to.
Yeah.
Right. And this is my issue with long range hunters
is
that there's systems out there, right, where you take 1,000-yard shots.
Yeah.
That are dialed in
Click,
for you.
click.
That's right. But the person behind that system is not a $10,000 shooter.
Right.
He's a $10 shooter.
Well, I think on top of that is the adrenaline.
Yeah.
I mean, being at the range and shooting something and shooting far away versus you're about to take this animal's life and you're in the field and you've been hiking and you've been sweating. You got this backpack and you're on the top of this thing.
Yeah.
It's like the adrenaline that happens when you're right there. Like that's got to be a technique that's maybe learned on how to lower that down.
So we always say that you always go back to your lowest level of training. You never rise to the occasion.
Oh, back to the basics.
Yeah. Whatever your lowest level of training is, you're always going to revert back to in a high stress situations.
Yeah, that's why I bring a shin guard with me.
So make the hardest shot of your life feel like the easiest chip shot you've ever made.
Yeah.
Somebody can do with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that situation with the 900 yards, I thought we couldn't believe that someone did that, right? I mean, growing up here, I think 300 yards is a long shot for an Alaskan going out and doing that stuff. And now you're shooting up a mountain, all this stuff. But also there's like the whole part of like winning in their territory. And like 1,000 yards, like no one's pinned out. Like, you shouldn't 900 yards. That's just too far in general.
I think you should get closer, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
Part
new.
of the
I'm
fair
super
chase is to get as close as you
Absolutely.
And to be fair for your guys' listeners, like I'm fairly new to hunting, right? Even though I grew up in Alaska, I really started hunting the last couple of years, and this previous year, I went on a Wyoming elk hunt, and it was about a week long, and I was bringing a 6.5 Creedmoor. Are you guys familiar with that cartridge?
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
A lot of
That's
people,
very popular.
yeah, a lot of people hate that cartridge.
Yeah,
for
there's like a
long-range hunting.
love-hate thing.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Wait,
happening
they
with that.
hate it for long range?
They hate it for
Just in
quote-unquote
general, it's
long-range
like,
hunting.
oh, yeah,
Okay,
Creedmoor.
because I'm just thinking about when you were talking about long range shots. I talked to this guy, and he had hunted some caribou, and they were all priding themselves on their 500 yards, 6.5 Creedmoor caribou kills, and I was like, that was their main goal, was to be like, oh, we kill these caribou from this far, and I'm just like,
Wow.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I at the time I didn't really like. I didn't think about like I just thought you just got like 150, 250 yards. Like that was you just got close. But so my perspective on 6.5 Creedmoor is I thought it was ideal.
Yeah,
long range rifle,
so
right?
there's a lot of hunters, especially that hunt like big game like moose and elk and stuff like that in Wyoming. They don't consider a 6.5 Creedmoor a long range hunting cartridge.
Oh, for that type of big game.
Yeah, because of how small a projectile is.
Oh,
and
okay,
stuff
okay.
like that.
So okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I got that part.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got that part.
What kind of grain is it?
140 to 145, 147.
147 is like ideal size, right? Because I was comparing it to a 270.
Yeah.
And I when you like look at ballistics, like they're not that. No, I'm sorry, I'm thinking 25-06. But yeah, the 6.5 is like that. Can still kill big game, but not.
Not efficiently.
Yeah, like I mean, you're killing a 1,200-pound
yeah.
animal. Do you really want to smack it with 147 from 900 yards?
Yeah. Well, so that's the
You
thing
know?
is I wouldn't shoot it at 900 yards.
Yeah.
And this
There's
is,
no energy left, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's it gonna do?
And this goes into our mission of modern sniper of like understanding like the science behind what you're bringing to the fight, right? Like if you know what kind of rifle you're bringing out there, if you understand the education of terminal ballistics of that bullet, and your training of like, okay, I've got this bullet, it's going to do this at this X range, as long as I can put it exactly where I intend it to be. Not like this.
Shot placement.
Not like this, like, oh, I've got this 18-inch kill zone that as long as I get it somewhere
I
here,
hit the nick the corner,
right,
it'll work out.
right, it'll work out, right? And that's where a lot of times hunters, in my experience, try to bring a bigger cartridge to offset what? Shot placement.
Yeah,
right?
aim small, miss small,
That's
baby.
right. That's right. So I brought a 6.5 Creedmoor for my elk hunt, and I knew I wanted to shoot that thing less than 400 yards. And a lot of it was not only the cartridge that I was bringing, but there's a grizzly bear threat in Wyoming.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
where I was at.
So you wanted something heavy enough.
Yeah. But I also brought my 6.5 Creedmoor out of spite because again, there's a lot of hunters out there that say like you can't hunt with a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Yeah.
Right. But as a hunting or as a long range shooting instructor that teaches hunters, I wanted to also teach from experience. I hate teaching from like, oh, I heard this, I heard that. Like I love teaching from experience. Right. So like I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
And I did
Find
it.
out if this works.
I did it. Took 2 shots at 465 yards, right? But if someone were asked me if I would do it again, I wouldn't, right? Because there's unnecessary risk that a hunter is taking by taking a 6.5 Creedmoor.
And what is that?
And that's, shot placement, right? And the given opportunity to send another round if that animal lets you, right? And so I was given a second opportunity after I shot him.
Because you
at
longed him and
460.
he sat still.
He moved about like 25, 30 yards.
Oh, okay.
Right? And
So he
then,
did walk slow.
Yep. And then I shot him again after he stopped. But
You have a very good video on that.
yeah, did you watch the video?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I can't expect a shooter that's not of my skill level to replicate that in the field. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To be able to hit it a second time just as efficiently as the first time.
That's right. That's right. And so that's why, like, even though it's been done and it's capable of doing,
Yeah.
I'm not going to recommend it to a shooter that isn't able to train the way that I train.
Right.
Because again, our level of proficient behind a rifle differs here at the table.
And so what gun was it? Or how far was that?
465.
What would you recommend? Say someone is capable, but not at your skill level in your moose hunting or elk hunting. What kind of caliber would you recommend?
Ooh.
From that distance, you're asking?
Yeah.
From that distance,
Yeah.
I think that the two staples in my head,
300.
as long as you're able to shoot consistently, is probably a 300 cartridge, like 300 PRC or 300 Win Mag,
Yeah.
or even a 7mm.
Yeah.
Those are my two favorite cartridges right
That's what I
now for
figured you'd
long
say.
range hunting. Mainly because of the support for factory ammunition out there, right?
Good point.
And then the type of bullets made for hunting specifically for those
Yeah.
cartridges.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. The Barnes, the Nosler,
That's right.
the good stuff.
That's right. But another thing for hunters to keep in mind is, again, the higher the cartridges is, the less inclined they are to train
practice,
with it in the off season. And that's my thing is like that animal that you're going to take that season deserves your time behind the rifle.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Great point.
it does, man.
Great point.
I grew up shooting my 7mm, and I love it. I've killed every animal in Alaska except for a mountain goat with that. And then now I've been shooting the 300 Winchester short mag for a while, which the bullets are hard to find, but
got some
at least in
gumption.
Alaska. But man, that gun is money, and it's interesting because I like shooting that more than the 7mm. But I'll go with a buddy, and they'll shoot my 300 Winchester short mag 3 or 4 times and be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I don't get that, but I think it's like how I support the rifle and stuff versus what they're doing. And I don't have any professional training. But the only training I have is my dad.
Shin guard?
Yeah, no. His buddy that he climbed all the Tetons in Wyoming with
classic,
was a Marine sniper.
Yeah, okay.
And so when he already knew how to shoot, but this guy, Steve Rosberg, he's kind of a famous Alaskan kayaker. He's an ex-Marine sniper. He had taught my dad some simple tricks.
Yeah.
Which hopefully we get into later, and that has helped me. But regardless, like I go with these other guys, it's beating the shit out of them, and they would never shoot my gun 20 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and you build a level of essentially confidence, and it's essentially when you shoot more with your cartridge, But if it's the first cartridge that you shoot, I mean, I'm sure you guys have big rifles that because you guys are hunters by trade, right? That you probably let your significant others have jumped on to shoot. They're smaller framed.
Oh, yeah.
They shot maybe 1 or 2 and they fucking hate it,
Yeah.
right? Because that initial impulse of recoil, our body's not designed to take it, right? So what's the immediate thing that happens when you take your shot? You blink.
Yeah.
It's your body's natural reaction
Right.
to protect itself, right? And so what we found at Modern Day Sniper is that when there's a link to higher cartridge rifles and shooters that are just beginning their path of long-range shooting or just shooting in general, and usually those are intertwined, and there's a flinch that develops because what happens is that shooter now prepares themselves for recoil.
Yeah, muscle memory.
That's right. So they roll into it or something like that, right? And it develops bad habit, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just fear, right?
Yeah.
Of trying to handle that specific gun. And that's why for me I like smaller cartridges because I can shoot more and train more with it.
Yeah.
Right.
More enjoyable too, right?
That's right. But I, to be fair, I'm building a dedicated elk gun or a big game gun for next year, like a 300 PRC, right? Because
Sweet.
I want to be able to again confidently go out to Wyoming and shoot an elk at 500-600 yards, and not have to worry about putting 2 bullets in him, just put one
Yeah,
bullet,
it's a
right?
1,200-pound animal.
That's right.
And it needs some knockdown power.
That's right, right? Because there's people taking 600, 700, 800 yard shots,
With efficient shooting.
putting them down, but it now in Wyoming sometimes 400 yards takes 7 or 8 hours to get to.
Like canyon.
Oh, because you got to go down a ravine.
That's right.
And just,
And they get there and the animal's still alive,
Oh my god.
right?
shit.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
that's
that's a long
super
time.
horrible.
Right? And
Wow.
and they got to put it out with a 9mm or something. Whereas like no, I want to make sure by the time I get to my specific animal, like it's
Oh yeah.
out cold.
Yep.
Phillip-
So with that
Oh, no, go ahead.
with
Go
the
ahead.
flinch, what are like your tricks that you go to when you're teaching to make that
question.
flinch to go away?
Let the shot surprise you.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. A lot of instructors will there's some different schools of thoughts of like depending on what level of you're at in terms of proficiency behind a rifle. I like letting the shot surprise you.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing anything with your body prior to, right? Because like if you know it's coming, right?
Yeah.
If someone throws a jab at you, what are you going to do?
You're going to flinch.
You're going to flinch. You're going to move, right? You're going to tense your body up.
Yep.
Or like when you're falling, right? Like
Yeah.
skiing.
You're
right?
going to prepare.
Like when it's like almost like when you know you're falling in like skiing or snowboarding, like it hurts more versus just letting it happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep your legs together, baby.
That's right.
Yeah, roll into it.
Same exact concept with long range shooting. It's like, hey, I know this recoil is going to come to
Yeah.
me, but just let it come, right?
Yeah, so that was the same message that we got growing up.
Yeah.
And then what we would do is the first shot, if we flinched, my dad would load all the bullets after that. And that's one of the tricks he learned from that sniper.
Yeah.
Was that if you load them, you don't know when they're empty. So you look like a real asshole when you flinch and there's not a bullet behind
Oh,
that.
you just dry fire?
So you dry fire it. I don't know if you do that.
No, we got ball and dummy drills. Yeah.
What's it called again?
A ball and dummy drill. We'll
Okay.
have just a dummy round inside of and you'll see it's like a dummy cartridge, and you know they're going to shoot it.
Yeah.
It's like,
But then they close, or they try to
yeah,
tense
yeah.
up before the shot happens. Yeah.
And then everyone laughs.
Yeah.
Philip, I was wondering about when you talked about that 457 yard,
465.
465 shot on the elk. That's a long way. So kudos to you. That's a long shot on a big animal.
So this goes back to our definition of proficiency.
Okay.
Right? Because your definition behind a rifle, right, it's just a lot different than mine, right?
Sure.
And I'm not saying for you that seems far, but for me that doesn't seem far at all.
That's like half. That's like if you're regularly shooting 300 yards and you got something at 100, you can be like, oh, I got this. That's like for him where he's normally shooting at 1,000 and this thing's at 400. It's like,
200
I
yard
might
shots
as well
like,
just stab it.
Yeah.
So I was just curious about how do I say this question? So combat, training, recreation, hunting to kill. How does it feel as you prepare and you pull the first trigger, and then there's always a follow-up shot in anything that you're doing as far as hunting or combat, right? Like as soon as you fire, you're putting another round in, right? Like
right.
So how was that as far as making that long shot on that elk, and then the process of putting another round in? Like, was it that training that just you followed all this criteria and these steps, or did it all break down and go kind of wild on you when you went to kill an animal? Because that was your first big game animal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
First elk, I shot an antelope before.
Oh, right. Okay.
And a mule deer, but like first, like elk, bull elk.
So how did it apply to all of them? I mean, you were a trained long range shooter. You were killing an animal. The application, and how is it different from the other?
So one of the first things that I will tell your audience and you guys is that in the Marine Corps we have this one shot, one kill, which is complete fucking like bullshit.
Okay,
right?
So way harder than it looks.
That's right. Well, not only that is that someone that's doped up on all sorts of drugs. And just people in general that are hyped up, whether it be a two-legged critter or a four-legged critter, their will to survive is indescribable, right? So, and I say that is because if you're going to take a shot, you should always be prepared for a follow-up shot, and that's a trainingism that stands from both hunters and military, is that usually they just train for that one shot and then move on to the next target, and they're training in their head like, oh, I've hit this one target, I'm good, right? You guys probably don't when you guys go to the range, like, I've hit my target.
I hit 100, now I'm going to do 200.
I'm going to do 200, right? But you never stop and assess to see if you've achieved desired effects, right? Because we're just trained to do, because when we're shooting steel or shooting paper, it doesn't give us the reaction that we're looking for,
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like what
it
does
just ends right there.
What does a two-legged critter look like when they soak up a 175 grain Sierra Match King, or a 140 four-legged critter look when they soak up a 143 grain, right? It's a lot,
and it changes every time.
That's right. That's right. In terms of the reaction of their body, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'll be completely honest with you. And I think this just comes from shooting so much recreationally and competitively, is that I just saw a target in my kill zone, right? And I needed to put that bullet exactly where I needed to. And that's what I kind of honed in on. And then when I took my first shot, it ran off, right? And honestly, I didn't, because of how light of a bullet I was using for that elk, I barely saw it soak up, right? Because
so far
I'm
away.
sure you guys have seen kill reels and stuff like that with like big, like whether they dump or they just soak up
Most of them,
immediately.
the big animals like that soak them up.
Yeah, they soak 'em
more
up.
times than not.
Yeah. So I got confirmation from my spotter that I put that bullet exactly where I needed to, right? Because there was some wind involved, right? I was holding about so in mils 5/10, which is considered about close to 2 MOA at 465, which is about 10 to 12 inches of wind I was holding for 465.
From left to right.
Yep. Yep. From left to right. Yep. And so when he moved and stopped, that's when I knew I needed to send a second one for security. Right. But from my experience, there's a lot of shooters out there that probably wouldn't have delivered that second shot based out of not fear, just a lack of training is what it just boils down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, even in the military, it's a stigmatism or dogma mentality that we're trying to get rid of in the sniper community, is that like one shot, one kill mentality, and where we train is like take one shot at a huge piece of steel and move on to the next target.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't really happen when you actually shoot.
It's funny you mention that because in my group, and I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything, just in general, I hear a lot about like, oh, I took this animal. It's like, oh, did you get him with one shot? Yeah. And I'm like, man, it must be nice, because like I've made lots of Boilermaker straight double lung shots on animals, and I didn't just dump, and I had to shot them again. And then they got up, and I had to shoot them again. It was like the will for the animal to survive was different from the one that just one dumped.
That's right.
And then they hang their hat on this, like, oh yeah, I'm like a one-shot wonder hunter, and I'm just like,
Most of
wait till you shoot something that doesn't die real easy.
But most of the time, I see the big moose and go down in one shot. It has to do with less like nailing the Boilermaker, because like if you
hit an artery or
no, they're taking
spine or
they're
something.
taking like the back of the shoulder out too, or like the low spine, and they're aiming a little high. I've done it by accident, where an animal just dropped and you're
you
like,
didn't
whoa.
mean to hit it in the spine.
No, I just aim too high. Like I aim
But you're still
higher
like,
than I should. But then they fall down in one shot, and then you watch this other guy nail, right to the heart kind of shot, and you're like, oh, it's perfect. But then it takes 5 minutes, or it stands up, or whatever.
Dude,
and then you're just like, okay, well, that was interesting, But then yours had less damage to the meat, so.
I know, right? You shoot something 3 times, and then there's like no meat damage.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And then you shoot something once in the spine, and it blows out the top of the shoulder, half the back strap, the next gelatin, and you're like, what the fuck?
I'm a big believer in this like high neck shot. So
I love that high neck
that's
shot.
like the moose camp thing, high neck shot.
Hit the
if
spine
you have
and
time,
just
like
collapse
we're
'em.
close. We're not shooting at 400 yards.
Yeah, you're 150, 200 yards max.
Yeah,
if
I
that.
mean, this year I was 24 yards.
Right.
So
That's
it's just
way
like,
super
yeah,
close.
just take that like second vertebrae out on the neck, and then like you got all the meat. It's like the animal's done right there.
Yeah.
Like when it went to moose heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right away. And
Well, and Phillip, with your elk, like, was that like a feeling of eternity between the first and second shot, between the scamper away and then like putting another one in there? A period of time had passed between then and there.
Yeah, because everything slows down, right?
Oh, big time, like super slow motion,
Almost even that first shot that I took felt like 30 minutes. But then when I watched the video, for the time that I turned my camera on to shot, that was only like 5-6 minutes, right? But
Okay.
I felt like I was
Which
staring.
still is a long time in the moment.
I felt like I was staring at that thing for about an hour.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the contemplation of like, do I shoot it again? But it's just, it's hit the lungs. I think it's gonna die. It's gonna go down. But like, I need to actually see it hit the ground. So I need to shoot it again. And like, I've been tangling with this because I've had a couple of kills where it was like 1 or 2 shots, and then I've had that have taken 5. And then after that, I like sit back and I kind of like, I pull that bullet out of the chamber, drop the bolt, and then I kind of put my gun down, and I'm just like, what did I do wrong? I'm like, did I do anything wrong? Or like, God, I need to get in the range more. Like all of a sudden you have all these thoughts that go through your head, and you're questioning like, man, am I like, can I make a good shot? Or am I just like a sloppy shooter that happens to get a couple of good kills in a year? Like,
You get in your own head.
I can't help but wonder. And I've never had any professional training, but like I go to the range, Phillip. I go to the range. I put a box of 20 rounds before I go hunting.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a lot,
Yeah.
but I mean, the days leading up to a hunt, if you go put 20 rounds to your gun and you're grouping, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
You go to the
Yeah.
range. Like,
Yeah.
I never have felt so good leaving the range to a hunt this year to take 4 shots to kill a moose.
But how many times have you actually shot your moose from a bench in the field?
Never.
Right.
Ever.
And
Okay, good point.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to beat you up here.
Let's talk about it. Like, I mean,
and this is what our goal at Modern Day Sniper is like, hey, we want to put you in scenarios and conditions that you're going to find yourself in the field.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to be shooting off a bench. You're most likely going to be shooting off the prone, or maybe even off your pack. Right. Because if you're shooting off of the prone position, you're probably going to try to, especially out here in Alaska, you're probably going to clear some veg.
Right.
Right. So you're probably shooting off of maybe like logs, or, maybe even
Tree
off the side of a
limbs
tree.
or,
right.
or
Yeah.
packs.
There's obstructions. Yeah.
And have you ever shot like that at the range?
No, I've never actually like really practiced.
Yeah.
You know,
the
shooting
silly
from
guy.
my shooting sticks.
Yeah.
On a stool
Yeah.
or on the seat of or a branch. You know, you jump off your 4-wheeler and you put your gun on the branch. You know, like you don't really do that at the range.
Yeah.
You know?
So let me ask you, when you sight into your rifle on an animal, right? When it's not off a bench, right, and you see your crosshairs moving across your target,
yeah.
right? So we call that a wobble zone.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Okay.
Wobble zone.
Wobble zone.
Wobble zone.
Yep. And based off of the size of your wobble zone is an indication of stability that you have in your shooting position. Is that fair? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
that makes
typically
sense.
when
How much is that crosshairs dancing around?
because
That furry
typically
brown
when you're in
wad.
the prone, I mean that shit is typically fucking solid,
Right.
Yeah.
It's not
or its
moving.
wobble zone is like just
very minimal,
Yeah.
right on the black or whatever target you're aiming.
yeah
But when we
on the edges.
when we get higher in these positions that we're not used to,
Mm-hmm.
because we're in the field now that wobble zone's fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
It's dancing around the kill zone. It's like, or somewhere in the area where we want to shoot it at, right? Mm-hmm. And then we're just I call it timing your shot. Like, it crosses now, boom, right?
Yeah, like catching the best part of the wobble zone.
That's right, right? So that's called timing your shot, right? And
Honestly, I feel like I do that more than anything.
in the
Is what I feel like I
we
do.
try to practice at Modern Day Snipers, not that you're not timing your shot. You're getting that wobble controlled to put that bullet exactly where you want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely,
Right?
it does, Phillip.
And that goes with body positioning, breathing. Trigger control.
Yeah.
Right. Understanding. Okay. Hey, this is how I'm set up behind the rifle. This is where it's attached to
It's
my.
like
Right.
it's all up here,
And
huh?
then how is my body influencing that wobble zone? So where it's like, it's going from here, right, to now here, to now here. Right. And that's all.
Narrow that wobble zone down.
You can do that all with just your body positioning and how you breathe and connect to that gun.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, as our kids and my son, who's now just applied for his first hunts, and I don't know where your daughter is as far as if you're gonna get her into hunting and stuff like that. What are some of the basics that I should be concentrating on? Because he's always, he's shot 22s and BB guns and stuff like that. They have zero recoil. He's learning safety first. But what are some of the basic techniques that it's like, focus on this. This is when you should shoot when you're breathing, that you would like to teach a child, like a 10-year-old kid who's going to go out and really step up from like a 22 to like to something bigger,
243
243 or something that's going to kill something where he's never actually felt that recoil.
Yep.
And I don't have the shin guard anymore
Yeah.
for him. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so I want to prepare him. Like, what is some things that I could tell him? I mean, obviously you said before,
Yeah.
like, be surprised by the shot.
Yeah.
I took that to note. But what are some other things that you would say, like when you're dealing with a child who's never even shot something that ever recoiled on that before? Like, what would you say? Like, what would be some of the first like words or steps to take?
Yeah. So the very first thing that I'd say is figure out your natural point of aim. And you guys have probably never heard that before. That'd be a great thing to write down, even for your guys' listeners. Is natural point of aim, right? And so what that is a concept between the connection between your body and your rifle, in which your rifle is naturally pointing based off how it's connected to your gun. Does that make sense?
Okay, so making it like a part of you.
Exactly, right? So once you connect to that rifle, right, what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes. You're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to exhale. And then you're going to open your eyes. And that rifle is going to tell you exactly where your body's naturally pointing.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Whether you're like downwards or
Upwards, right? Because as soon as we grab that gun and we have both of our eyes open, we're going to drive that gun wherever we want to. But that causes muscle tension, right? Which is against what we want to apply with our rifles, right? We want to have more bone support than anything, right? Because muscles fatigue and our bones just relax and they don't fatigue at all, right? So if we have good bone support, we can essentially aim our rifle naturally based off how our body is pointed, right? And that's just body positioning.
Got it.
Right? So that's the very first thing, because that's going to drive majority of our gross aiming, right? Okay. Second is your breathing, right? You want to fire at the bottom of your breathing cycle, which is called your natural respiratory pause.
Your exhale.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, take a deep breath in, then exhale. Once you get to the bottom of your breathing cycle, right, that's when you want to essentially break that trigger, right?
Got it.
Now, this is the last thing, which is good trigger control, right? Letting the shot surprise you, okay? A lot of times, especially for hunting rifles, you probably have anywhere from 2 to 4 pound triggers, maybe even heavier, right? The last thing that you want to do is try to pull all that 4 pounds when you get to the bottom of your breathing cycle. Does that make sense? Because when you get to the bottom of your breathing cycle, 4 pounds is a lot to pull in one split second. So you could have the most stable position in the world, but if you've got shitty ass trigger control, guess what? You've got shitty ass results downrange. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So this is where dry fire, even in the off season, comes in, right? Of understanding and marrying up your trigger with your breathing cycle. And it's like, okay, I've got a 4 pound trigger. Well, I'm going to pull out 3 pounds of that weight as I exhale, so that when I get to the bottom of my breathing cycle, I've only got a pound left to pull out.
Oh, man.
Does that make,
so you're not waiting till the bottom of your cycle and then starting to pull the trigger.
Slowly pulling till it surprises
that's
you.
Right. That's right. You're essentially, because every triggers have a wall, right? Because you ever feel your trigger and it almost like you can kind of feel it pull back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like a bow wall.
That's right. That's right. You get to a wall and you're like, oh, it's there.
Yep.
I got to pull just a little bit of slack out. That's what you want to pull when you get to the bottom of your breathing cycle. But you don't want to try to pull all of that.
Yeah, which
in
jerks
that
it.
last.
That's where you get your jerk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a feather feel. Like
The other trick we did when I was young for this is we would lower the trigger pull from like 4 pounds to like 2.5 for little kids, and it worked great because that trigger pull will surprise you every time. At 2.5, it just goes off.
It just goes off.
But there's a safety issue. Don't walk around with your loaded gun.
With a 2 pound, 2.5 pound
because it's super light. But talk about surprising you every time.
Yeah.
It will, because it just goes off.
yeah.
Now, what about a position to start a kid who's going to go hunting?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're in the field, you're not going to be laying down
Prone.
with the thing and all that stuff, prone, as you say. You're going to be standing up or you're going to be on your knees. Should you initially start in maybe the position that you're most likely going to be in, or should you best practice?
Practice in the position that's going to get you the minimal amount of wobble zone, which is the prone, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Practice best case scenario.
Best case scenario, right?
Yeah.
And not only that is that, obviously the higher you get off from the prone, right? Like the standing position, you have what, like we talked about, wobble zone, right? Where that you've got that movement of your reticle across your target. Well, if you start off there, what happens is you start training your shooter to time their shot.
Yeah.
And when you're timing your shot, what are you probably doing? You're jerking your shot.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have a nice controlled wobble zone where it's okay, it's moving a little bit, but it's moving within as long as I press a good shot within that area, right, I'm gonna hit somewhere in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if I'm doing this and I'm trying to time it,
Time to reset.
You're erratic as hell. You're
that's
all
right.
over the fucking board.
At that point, it's all luck.
Yes, it is.
Which
Yeah.
is probably happening a lot.
For sure.
I find that to probably apply more to a real kill situation for a lot of guys, myself included, big time, where you're trying to balance all the emotions, excitement, adrenaline, pressure. You know, you got your like probably your best friend or like one of your best hunting partners with you, so you want to like make a good shot for him too. Like, am I right there? Like, if you don't got a guy backing you up, and you're the only one shooting, well, I'm it. Like, I gotta make this happen. Like, for instance, this year when I shot that sheep with Chad was like the best shooting coach, hunting partner I've ever had, ever. The way he was just like calm, talking to me, take your time. He's literally laying there. He's not going anywhere. Because I was just like, wait a minute. Like, there's like no rush. There's no hurry. This ram is laying there.
Yeah.
He's not like feeding. He's not going to get spooked. Even if he does, he's going to like stand up and stand there for a second. He's not going to just run away. And it was like the calmest, cleanest spine. Like,
That's
like,
awesome.
went to sleep.
Calm breeds calm.
Dude,
I want
calmest.
to meet this guy, Chad. No, that's
Chad
important.
Arns. Oh,
So
he's a big time. He's got a Gunworks gun. He's a big time. He loves long range shooting. We'll connect you.
Okay, so
Chad Arns is badass. You guys will hit it off.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you said it. When you have a partner, it's important to understand that
Oh my God.
as a spotter, you are a coach, and your goal is to mentor and coach and calm the shooter down.
We have never hunted together. We had never hunted together, and I was like, yeah, you know, I shoot my rifle, you know, I put probably 50 rounds in it since, you know, before we went hunting. And he was like, okay. Because he was kind of like picking at me as we were driving up, but not like, well, do you shoot? What's your proficiency? He wasn't like asking me those questions, but he kind of was.
That's right.
I'm curious as to like what my game was. And I was like, well, you know, I'm just kind of like average Joe, you know, but I was like, dude, we're going hunting for sheep. You got a bow. Like, we're going to get you a sheep. I'm not the one shooting. Didn't find out I was shooting until minutes before I shot one.
Yeah.
And so, but it was like his calm demeanor, the way he talked, it was just like all of it just led to this like,
Well, I want to
boom,
do
and
that
I
as
was
a
like-
dad. Like how he did that. Like, I would love to be able to do that as a dad, taking out my son and my other son or someone's kids out for the first time to shoot. Like, those are some things that are highly important to me.
Oh yeah, being a good coach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then just like how he talked about like your main goal as a spotter is to calm your shooter, because you have to put yourself in their shoes, like what they're going through. As soon as they lock onto that crosshair, they're even with me when I was stalking my elk, like my heart was thumping. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get this opportunity again.
right.
Right. Like
Right.
this might be my only shot.
You don't want to miss it.
That's right. And so, like, what do you want to be said to you if you're the shooter?
Yeah.
Hey, calm down. Remember to breathe.
Talk it
Relax. That's right.
Good time.
I think I had that benefit with Kennedy when 2 years ago when she shot her first caribou when she was 10.
Yeah.
That caribou was laying down. Remember that little bull was laying down, and we made the stock, and he had no idea we were coming. And like the other 3 opportunities we had were all kind of like they're crossing, belly crawling, wind was howling, trying to get her set up, and it was like 2 times in a row. She's like, "Dad, I'm just not comfortable."
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man, this is like our chance.
Yeah.
So I want to be like, shoot it. But I'm like, well, I don't want you to do it if it's going to be feel not right. If it's not feeling right.
Absolutely.
So we watched 2 nice caribou walk away.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, it stung the nostrils, you know. But she was like, didn't hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
She was like, well, I just don't feel right.
Yeah.
And then the third opportunity, me, Kennedy, Daniel Mateo make this like 400-yard belly crawl, like epic stock on this caribou, and it's all alone, laying there perched on a hill, and she gets set up. We get her, we get her little 308 on a little tussock, and she gets set up, and she's like, has all the time. I'm like, I remember your breathing, trigger squeeze, I'm just talking to her, and then finally she's like, Dad, stop talking. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it was like 30, 45 seconds went by, and boom. And then she, goes up, comes down, and then she hits it again, and then the second time it like flops, she's like, yeah, she fist pumps hard.
Man,
and the first thing I want to do is like hug her. And what does she do? She like stops me, and she takes that out of the chamber, opens the bolt, puts the safety on, puts the gun down. Now it's time to hug. I'm just like, damn, I completely lost all control of all the safety part of it.
Yeah.
And you remembered every step. And I'm like, dang, and we went to shooter safety, and we did the whole thing. And she didn't get any like professional training, but it was just the opportunity and the talking through and the spotter coaching.
Yeah.
Like you might become a coach of a shot that you don't even know you're going to be coaching.
It's just as powerful as the person shooting the end result.
Phillip, that's right, man.
Yeah.
It is. And you don't ever know when you're going to be.
I love spending my time as an instructor. I spend mostly my time on class, but the result is just as gratifying as that person that's shooting the gun.
Yeah. When you see somebody have that success or build the confidence, right? Right. Yeah, it's amazing.
As I was looking at your website, I noticed that you guys have classes coming up, some in Florida, some in California. I didn't see any in Alaska.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I'm just curious on that.
So we're actually, so we know the guys up here that run long range training. They're up in Talkeetna, and one of my mentors, and when I say my mentors, like one of the people that I look up to, Frank Galley, he teaches classes up here. He's the founder of Sniper's Hide. And the very first article he wrote about training in Alaska was phenomenal. He talked about how the guns that he saw were straight up guys, hunters, right? 300 Win Mags, lightweight platforms, 10 pounds or less, right?
Yeah.
Where I come from, sniper rifles and competitive rifles are anywhere from 16 to 20 pounds, right?
Wow.
But you don't see that out here.
No.
Heavy rifles.
Well, if you've seen the rifle I hunt with, it's about that.
Mine's 11 pounds. I mean, I'm
which
close.
is good perspective of like, hey, like the people out here.
What was homie's name again?
Frank Galley is his name.
Galley?
Yeah. So he runs classes out here, and again, I'm very big in understanding the market space and understanding like, hey, like I always want to do right by the people that I look up to in the community. So before I started advertising for classes out here, I wanted to run by it through him.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, like I see that you're teaching in Alaska. I'd love to teach in Alaska. Is it all right if I advertise to teach? Because essentially, because Alaska is so small in terms of hunters, last thing I want to do is pull from his market.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense? And that's important because the community is small, right? And so, we're looking at actually teaching up here.
Cool.
There's a range in Talkeetna that they shoot out to 1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The
one on the right side going north?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
So we're looking hopefully to do that in the summer.
Okay.
I'll do 2 trips in one, go to visit family, and then go work for a little bit.
Yeah. How long's that class? Like,
so our classes, so we've got a majority of classes. Our main one is our intro to long range shooting, or intro to precision rifle shooting, which is 4 days.
Wow.
4 days long. Yep. It's,
I thought it'd be like a weekend.
No, it's 4 days. Yeah. So okay, I'm glad you said that. When I was teaching at sniper school, and I hate saying this, like back in my day, like, right, because like fucking people that say that are like usually fucking, they're like just over in their head, right? A
little ego driven.
That's right. But when I taught at sniper school, I had 9 weeks to teach someone the basic fundamentals of long range precision rifle shooting, right? Now, I mean, I can't take and barely that barely even scratched the surface
in 9 weeks.
In 9 weeks, and now I've got to condense that down to 4 days.
Yeah,
right, to make someone essentially quote unquote proficient behind a rifle in terms of my definition of proficient, right, behind a precision rifle.
Yeah,
right.
that's tough.
So that's 4 days. Is that 8 hours a day?
It's 8 hours a day.
And then how many hours like in the classroom versus the range?
That's a good question. So we've got our curriculum broken down pretty efficient to where the first couple of days or like first half day is the classroom, right? And then the second half of the day is all shooting, right? Where the last 2 days are strictly all shooting, right? Because we understand that in order for majority of learners or kinesthetic learners, right, which is people that are hands-on, right, especially in this technical task of learning, we understand that in order for you to learn, you have to fail by shooting, actually going out and shooting. Me standing up there with a fucking PowerPoint, it's not going to do you any good.
It's only going to get so far.
That's right, right? Mm-hmm. Because like what's funny about long range shooting is there's so many of these concepts of like spin drift, Coriolis effect, fucking wind drift, all these fucking things that people...
Are those all factors that control a bullet?
They are, right? But once you start looking at the numbers and start like plotting it out on a ballistic calculator that's free, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, this shit really doesn't matter, right? You start to realize like...
It's the guy that's pulling the trigger.
Oh, fuck. Like my ability to call wind, my ability to pull the trigger in that wobble zone that I want is the reason why I miss at 500 yards, not because of fucking...
A 2 mile an hour northeast wind or whatever.
That's right. That's right. Where a lot of people like to exaggerate the effects of long range shooting, like, oh, I called the fucking wind call, in 10 mile an hour winds. Like, okay, dude, like, so we like to, for our classes, have you guys shoot a lot more,
right,
and put you in real world scenarios that we found ourselves as hunters and snipers in the field that are applicable to everyone that is behind a long range shooting system.
And then how many rounds are you shooting your guns or our guns? Do we bring our own gun?
You guys bring your own guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like over that 4 day period, how many rounds are we?
So you're shooting anywhere from 300 to 400 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you bring your own.
You bring your own gun. Yeah.
Holy shit! I better stock up.
So we break down the MOA versus mill, right? Because I'm sure you guys have rifle scopes.
Must be all self hand loaders, like.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah. So
I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
You're not going to Cabela's on Monday morning and checking for the
no.
Every Monday for a year for that, baby.
Okay, this is some serious shit, Phillip. This is some serious shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoy teaching. I enjoy the teaching aspect. I enjoy opening the minds of shooters that, again, when you break down hunting, right? Would you agree with me that there's 3 parts to it? Finding, fixing, and finishing. Finding meaning you're like looking for it.
Spotting.
Find your game.
Yep. Fixing is like making the determination that you're going to actually shoot an animal.
Legal it, stock it, which is
a split-second decision, right?
Yes.
And then your last 1% of your time actually hunting is actually finishing or shooting it.
Yeah.
But that 1% is 100% of your purpose of being out there.
Yeah.
How many of your time do you actually spent perfecting that 1%?
Yeah.
Most average hunters, very little time.
Very little.
A lot. I mean, little.
Yep.
Yeah, very little.
Yeah.
Like less than 1%.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you when in preparation of a moose hunt, how many hours you spend in the garage packing this and that and fixing this and updating that and upgrading that and making sure you got the right pull for the tent and the cooler full of beer and all the other.
Coolers full of beer, that's right. Yeah. Hey, but the survivability is important, man. Like warming layers and shit. Like, I learned that shit real quick this past fucking winter. I got to do this.
There you go.
No.
Double shovels coming in for sure. Nicely done.
You had a lot of connections with some of these other hunting brands, for example, Stone Glacier. I saw that you had trained. Maybe some of those guys came down to your school.
Are you guys familiar with Stone Glacier?
Oh yeah, we run their pack.
You guys run their packs?
Yeah.
Oh man, so what I got to do is I got to get you in touch with those guys. So this was a relationship that was built before me. My business partner actually built a relationship with Stone Glacier. Kurt is the actual main designer, but yeah, we did train with those guys this past August. Freaking phenomenal dudes, human beings, hunters through and through.
Yeah.
Right, like with bows, and that's one thing that I want to get. I haven't. I'm sure you were talking about earlier, like bow hunting. Like that's one thing that I want to actually like dive into.
Yeah, you'll love it.
A whole nother level of like actually stalking.
You got to win in their sensory zone, man.
That's
It's
right,
like the
dude.
opposite.
It's complete opposite. Yeah. Like actually doing
How
the
close can you
stalk
get?
exactly, undetected. That's I feel like that's like stalking humans is easy, right? There's so many fucking distractions nowadays.
Yeah.
With your phones and shit like that. Like being able to stalk a human individual, it's kind of scary, but it's easy, right?
Sure.
To do an actual four-legged critter.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You have to win where
their
every
sensors
predator.
are going hard. Like they're ready for you to come in.
I used to be single.
Every predator has failed, right? You got to win in that zone.
Oh no, that's true. That's a whole nother level.
I got to put you in the Stone Glacier guys. They're good dudes. Yeah. Especially if you guys run their packs.
Yeah, their products are awesome. And I would say there's probably some that would say in the last 10 years, Stone Glacier has been killing it in Alaska. For me personally, I'd say in the last 5, I've seen them more on a larger scale as far as their products being
Maybe more
predominant.
commercially available.
Commercial available. There you go.
Kurt works up on the slope in Alaska, or did.
He's like an electrician.
Yeah, and so like a lot of like these hardcore sheep hunters that you would never know about, right? They got 30 rams. You know, they were running his packs for years, but
yeah, that's why I use
no
the
one
word
else would know.
a decade. Because I'm sure that's been around even before that.
Yeah,
But as far as like mainstream, 5 years is like mainstream. I'd say more than anything.
yeah, they've been rocking it.
But they've been doing it. Yeah.
I
And
think
those guys
since
do.
they like moved to Bozeman, which
that's
is
like
probably
that's
about
the
then.
mecca of all gear, right?
man.
First
A lot of
Anchorage,
nice
baby,
out there.
Anchorage.
Barney's.
Yeah, we need more in Anchorage. Barney's, yeah.
No, I mean, no, seriously though, like Bozeman's got it.
Yeah, they got a lot going
locked
on.
in.
Sims is down there.
Sims, all of it. Yeah.
But they all wish they were Alaskan and want to come up here. You know what
They
I'm saying?
do love Alaska.
That's true. Yeah, you get a chance to go to their setup down there.
Yeah, they've got a pretty dope setup down there.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, so you should never trust a person that only has one pack, right? In terms of like giving you like
You
pack
want to talk about
advice.
how many packs I got?
I've got like fucking 15, 16 fucking packs, like from companies that are
Rattle 'em off.
everywhere, right?
Rattle 'em off.
It's like
No, I'm glad you mentioned that because I got like 7.
Yeah.
And I thought I was like, man, like some of them just collect dust now.
yeah, oh yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean,
No,
they served a purpose at one
Yeah,
point.
they did. They were an educational purpose. Right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
now, like, and I can't even say this enough. Like, not only do I love those guys because of our relationship, but I honestly think they're probably one of the best packs in the market in terms for like a hunter.
Well, you're a Marine. You packed.
That's
you
right.
use packs.
Well, we
so
didn't. We weren't educated on packs. That's the problem.
Oh, you use what was
That's
given
what
to
were
you.
given to you. Yeah, but we
Okay.
weren't properly taught how to utilize like load bearing, use your waist strap. Like I never remembered using my waist strap at all for the first like 8 years. Like you just threw that shit on your shoulders and you just walked.
Right.
Right.
Just learn the hard way.
That's right. And so with like Stone Glacier, like sometimes I forget that I even have a pack on.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys felt that before?
Just the way
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
ergonomically
That's
set
right.
for your body type.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like some with some packs, like you get that shoulder strain
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
where it's like super tight and you're just like you have no
I do have that issue.
Yeah, or the Koyu, like,
Oh, man.
Oh, the teeter.
Listen, I love a lot of key stuff, like as far as like the pants and some of their super down, but that backpack that does that, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
When you're on the
72
side of a
Icon,
mountain and you got 100 pounds and you got to
Yeah,
constantly
if you fall, you
shift it
didn't
over,
die.
dude. If you
And
fall and
it's
you
like,
die, it's not
fucking
good.
hated that thing,
Get
dude.
the WD-40. I did find that Stone Glacier, it's just like
what
part
pack,
of you.
What pack do you run?
I have the Stone Glacier Sky Guide now.
Nice.
But before that, I had the QU, and before that, I had
the 72 Icon.
and he has a mystery. We've run through packs, but my favorite right now is the Stone Glacier.
Yeah.
I really do like the
Kafaru.
no
The Barney's pack.
the Barney's pack,
Oh,
dude. If
yeah,
you're gonna
that
do a
thing's really
huge pack,
nice.
But a lot of times that's like simply like
just big.
huge expedition style, like as far as comfort and just like
They got it
durability of
light though.
So I'm gonna ask you
Way light.
real quick. I want to go around the room. What's your cartridge of choice for hunting? What's your main cartridge? That
I
you
use a 178 and my dad's 30-06 from 1970. Dude, this thing's a tank.
Yeah, yeah. I actually ran that odd 6, 30-06 Weatherby, and I ran the 178 ELDX.
A Hornet ELDX.
Hornet ELDX, which is a great round, but
Yeah.
I finally switched over to the GSX Barnes 180.
Oh, mine's a Precision Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh man, what's
That
it called?
round and the 180 Barnes are like,
Can't find
numbers
them, though.
wise, are like the exact
They're
same.
bonded bullets, right?
They're what?
Are they bonded bullets?
Yes, they
Yes.
are.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And that's just over the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
we're
important.
not
Again,
hand-loading.
the average hunter, right? It's not
Yep.
out there reloading. Yeah.
No, it's not like what I would choose.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I have, and I just been rocking it. And it's been taking animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
well, I'll
I
be
roll with it,
100%
but-
honest. Like when you get into ballistics and the rounds and all that, I don't know like the best. I don't do the 100% of homework. You know what I'm saying? I will choose a round. I used to just go with the Remington round that I had from my dad that showed me.
Yeah, and then I
you
turned
get
you to, like,
you get
actually
proficient
going to-
with
Yeah.
with that round
right.
and that rifle, and then you
Yeah.
become comfortable with that. And now as
What-
new
what-
rounds have come out,
If it's not broke, why fix it?
yeah.
The other
yeah.
side too, Philip, is like, you know, growing up hunting with my dad, it was like, you needed the 338. We're shooting elephants out here, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, I need the big round. We're in bear country, and yeah, I mean, I have a 338 Weatherby. I love that. I shoot 225 Barnes out of that. That thing, I'm tack driver with it, but I don't kill with it very often ever because I feel like it's like overkill.
Yeah.
And I think it is, but like it shoots so good.
Yeah.
But I never kill with it. It's crazy. Like it's funny how you ask that question. I say like, dude, I go out that 338 and like for sure, but I'm like, I don't want to blow holes and shit this big, like
Yeah.
for no reason. But I
Jackie?
love that thing. I do.
Yeah, if we know we're not going to see bears, if we know we're not in grizzly or
that's a
brown
good
bear territory, then I'll run like a 150 nozzler with the 300 Winchester short mag. But if there's any potential of bears, usually like I'm in territories where there's not a bear and then it's this close. You know, I run like 180, also a nozzler. And the thing about bullet selection up here that's real hard is you go to the store and they're not available.
Yeah.
So I used to be real specific 5 years ago. Now it's like what's available on the shelf. Okay, I've shot that. I'm comfortable with that. I'll grab these 3 boxes when they're there. And that's what I'm stuck with hunting for the next year.
So what I've found that is really disappointing with it being Alaska is the lack of long range venues out here.
Oh, that too.
With how big Alaska is, right?
Sure.
I know, isn't that crazy to think?
Yeah.
You know, it's because a lot of times people think that like, oh, with Alaska, like you probably have like miles
yard
of
ranges,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like well, there's a lot of fucking trees.
Yeah.
Right. But no, it makes sense, and I'm glad that you guys had because now I'm more educated as an instructor of like what the average hunter is using.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%, that's what it
I'm
is.
so mainstream with what's up to date, right? Because I'm a competitive shooter, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
the highest level, right?
exactly. And I'm you know educating people that are trying to get into hunting or whatever. But you guys have 30-06s, which is it's not a bad cartridge.
No, it's
Right?
not the best, but
It gets the job done.
yeah.
That's what matters, right?
Yeah.
And being
I
as
mean,
efficient
feeds
as you
the
can
family.
with it feeds the family, is being as efficient with that cartridge as you possibly can.
Yep.
Is important.
Right.
Right.
It is, and that's what's cool when you said that you want people that come to your courses to come with what you're normally shooting, come
right.
with whatever the ballistics you have or the rifle you have, and you're going to be able to train them
Yeah.
with that. Because I mean, sure, we could all have dreams to have this badass
Yeah.
fucking thing and this cartridge, but really, like I'm shooting my dad's rifle that he gave to me that I learned from
right.
him for the last 20 years.
All I want to do is redefine your definition of proficiency behind a rifle.
Not that you got to go and build a $5,000 rifle
You don't
and
have
save
to.
up thousands of dollars of hand-loaded ammo and come out with you
Yeah.
on this
I
course.
want
and
you
do,
to bring what you're going to take.
Yeah, what you're actually going to
and
use.
what you're gonna
I
pass
dig
down
that.
what you're gonna pass down to your kids.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Now, when I pass it down to my kid, Yeah, I might hit you up and be like, Phillip, I
need
got
the
about
hot boy.
5K. I need to build something that's nasty out here and come take a course.
You know, I think in layman's terms, there's still the dynamic of just going and pulling the old 30-30 Winchester off the top of the door,
I just found rounds for mine.
and walking out on the porch and like shooting something.
Yeah.
Like there's, am I right?
Yeah.
Like that's like a lot of us have that gun in our safe still, where it's not, you know, like, yeah, I'm proficient as hell at 125, boys. Like, you know, that's where I'm at with this rifle off that little hook off the top of the door, you know. And
I think one mistake, like going back to like our ammo selection, is like that often I'll be in the field with people and then we'll be looking at this animal at 300 yards and I'm like, oh, are you comfortable? Are you not comfortable? What's going on? And they're like, oh, how high should I aim? And I was like, let me see the picture from the box. You know, like what'd you aim at your rifle? And what's the box say? It shows it. And these are like basics, like way basic from what you're teaching. But like you go in the field with these people and they don't even know what that says. And so like we're going back to like, hey, you know, I'm not sure what my rifles do. It's like that's something that every listener here should do, is like take pictures of all their boxes of ammo and put it in their iPhone under hunting or whatever. And you can look at it back in the field and know that like, hey, at 300 yards, like I need to aim 13.6 inches high because my rifle's aimed in at 100 yards or whatever. What do you recommend in that situation?
Well, so we dial for all of our stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So all of our schooling is straight dial.
Okay.
But when you say that, now we talk about understanding danger space, right? Of like the threshold in which your gun is dialed to. Mm-hmm. Where like you're gonna hit vitals if you aim for a clear shot.
That's what that number is.
That's what that number is, right? Like if your gun is sighted in for 300 based off of the flatness of that cartridge or capability,
right,
you should be able to hit an 18-inch vertical kill zone out to 400 without having to aim higher than center mass.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So like, but if you know like, oh, he's at maybe like 400, but this thing is sighted in for 200, now I need to aim 6, 10, 12 inches top of the back, whatever the case might be.
So many variables there too.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point. I mean, what Jack's saying, what I'm hearing is like the general shooter who just drew a tier 1 caribou tag and just went and bought a 300 Win Mag is like, well, you know, they don't even realize that like at 300 yards, your bullet drops 7.6 inches.
Right.
Well, they know that happens, but they don't even take the picture of the box, so they don't know what they know that's going to happen. These aren't like unexperienced hunters, inexperienced hunters.
I meant like people in general will go and they don't realize like even that is a factor.
Like veteran hunters like just know like, oh, it's about this.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Well, let's go back to 18-year-old Phil Velayo that had no schooling. I thought every rifle printed the same exact fucking hole if you aimed it at the same spot.
That's how green your mind was.
That's right.
To
Like I
shooting.
thought that like at 100 yards, if I was pointing at the same exact thing, I was going to put that bullet right on top of each other.
right.
Like, no, it all changes.
That's right.
Like
based off of barrel harmonics, based off of gravity, based off how I'm influencing as a shooter, all these things, right? And I didn't know about like all this gravity shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like I could only assume the average hunter thinks that if I grab this rifle from Walmart or whatever the fucking Cabela's out here, and the guy at the counter sights my rifle in, I'm good out to 200 yards.
Right.
Right. But I'm here to tell you, if you're listening to this, you should always double check your shit.
Oh,
That's right.
Yeah, and you'll find out it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's not
Phillip,
ready.
what was talking about cartridge caliber? Like, what's your preference? Like 22 to like, what have you shot? 50 cals. I mean, what is your?
So my favorite cartridge right now is a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay,
that's the most well-rounded cartridge out of. So like, if you look at the applications for long range shooting, you've got
pound for pound
recreational, And when I talk
competition.
about long range shooting, so my definition of long range shooting is when you start have to take in account for atmospheric effects on the bullet.
Wind, temperature,
pressure, right? Altitude, okay, humidity, all those things, right? And for a 6.5 Creedmoor, that's about 600-700 yards, right? And then so that's my favorite right now, like all around cartridge. For hunting specific, especially like big game, now we're looking at a 7 class, like a 7 SAUM, 7 Rem Mag, 7 LRM, 7 long range Magnum, or a 300 class, 300 Win Mag or 300 PRC.
30 cals.
The big reason why I'm not a fan of the Weatherbees, even though they're great hunting cartridges, is I call them shoulder killers, right? Because they fucking destroy you in training, right?
They suck so bad.
The
dude.
guys that
I have mules. I call them mules.
The
They
guys
kick like a mule.
Yeah, and not only like they kill shit, but the likelihood of you training with a Weatherbee in the off season, right, is not happening. Right, you're sighting it
That
in,
thing sucks.
and that's it.
Good hunting rifle. Do not practice with it a lot.
That's right, and that's why I dislike. So I'm a big fan of cartridges that are easily tameable, that you can stomach in the off season.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
We're well over 2 hours here, boys.
Is it 2 hours?
Yeah.
Damn,
I want to end this on a quick fire. Like
all your podcasts go like this?
yeah,
Good
they
one.
go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
yeah.
You gotta come in next
We
time.
can just keep going,
Yeah,
right?
we can
No,
keep going.
this is
somewhere.
dope. This is good.
We gotta save some room for the next time.
No, for sure. Yeah, this is dope.
You gotta come back in the summer.
You got it. I wanna end with a quick fire, and then we'll give a quick shout out to where people can find you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I like to end with just a bunch of random kind of questions and just see where you're at. Okay. Camo or solids?
Solids.
Childhood hero?
Oh fuck. Like anyone?
Say the name.
Pepe.
Pepe.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at that
Yeah.
smile.
My cousin.
Favorite
Damn,
game
that
meat?
just made my heart feel soft. Man.
What's that? Favorite game meat?
Yeah.
So far, elk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Optics brand.
Ooh, Hollis, Swarovski.
Tripod brand.
Really right stuff.
Favorite way to cook elk?
Ooh, pan-seared.
Ever scoped yourself?
I don't see any scars, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just let him answer.
I have, yes.
Okay.
In my younger days.
Favorite podcast?
My favorite podcast is Real AF by Andy Frisella.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
First Alaska animal you want?
Doll sheep.
Good answer.
Why is your nickname Flytrap?
Ooh, so I'm a mouth breather by trade. So my mouth is always open, whether I'm just like you're just standing there looking
Just
at
looking
you,
down range with
or if
smoke,
I'm
please. Just
sleeping.
mouth open.
My mouth is always open. That's right.
What sleeping bag you rocking?
A Stone Glacier chill coop,
Nice.
Is that a 20 degree?
15 degree.
What boots you rocking?
Ooh, Shields or Schnees.
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 Yeah.
Favorite Filipino food?
Menudo.
Menudo.
It's my favorite.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Soup guy.
Well, if you guys want more info on Phillip, it is at Vallejo, VELAYO _0317 or at Modern Day Sniper. I'm assuming that's the website too, right? moderndaysniper.com.
Yep.
If you're trying to get in, obviously there's going to be some Alaska classes coming up. Are you open to people just asking random questions, hitting you up on the DMs?
Yeah, for sure. Hit me up. Best way to hit me up is on my Instagram or on my email. I would prefer email. Instagrams usually get flooded, but if you have direct questions, Phillip, PHILLIP at moderndaysniper.com. I typically reply back to all my emails versus my DMs because they get, when you put stories and shit like that, they get flooded.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if you email me directly, you'll get a response.
Perfect. Thank you, Alaska, for listening. Leave us an Apple Podcast review. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Heather's Choice promo code Alaska Wild. Go to AlaskaWildProject.com for any hats or merch. Please go to Barney's and support local businesses and pick up some AWP merch. Phillip, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Great
This
work,
was
bro.
awesome, man.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
Yeah, this
Yes,
was an awesome
sir,
podcast.
for sure.
We really appreciate everything that you're doing, and thanks for listening. Alaska, stand up, stay wild.
You remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in a competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with a Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with a Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They are the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska. Built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products, such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.